level, pitched another 100 at AAA, so very near that 200 inning mark. And that was by far more than he had ever pitched in a season, but yet he finished extremely strong, was 3-1 with an ERA under 2 over his last 6 starts in September. Yeah, I don't think we've seen everything that Rich Hill can be yet.
Swing and a miss, and back-to-back strikeouts for Rich Hill.
And here's how the Cubs take the field defensively. Brought to you by Pepsi. Your world, your Pepsi. Mertens, Soriano, and Jones across the outfield. Ramos Ramirez over at third. Cesar Asturias at short. Mark DeRosa, the new second baseman. Derek Lee, good to see Derek out there playing 100% healthy and ready to go. Henry Blanco will be giving Michael Barrett a little bit of a rest after that inside the park home run yesterday. And, of course, left-hander Rich Hill on the mound.
Well, you had to get that in there right off the bat. The catcher with the inside the Parker. Anytime
a catcher hits an inside the Parker, you know, they should have some kind of a ceremony on the field that moment.
Apparently Ryan Terrio, who had tripled earlier in the game, almost went around the bases as well. Konerko pulls one way foul. Well, it's just good to be back, isn't it?
Oh, it really is, especially being around the players, around the clubhouse and the staff and everybody involved with the Cubs in uniform. Seems to a man to be very excited about the way things have gone so far this spring, and that bodes well. You start camp with a good positive attitude, it seems to carry over right into the season.
Hill will go 2 innings today. We're also expected to see Scott Air. We won't see the guy in the middle today, Carlos Zambrano, who pitched well the other day. Bob Howery is on today's list. Angel Pagan on the left. Comes back up outfielder. Slow curveball missed. That's Rich Hill's best pitch. But as we've talked before, for him to get to that next level, it's going to be about his fastball, being able to command it early in the count. Hit deep but foul.
And as we've seen in the early going, Rich going right to that breaking ball. A lot of times the first start, second start in spring training, guys hesitate to go to their A pitch, and certainly that curveball is his A pitch, but he said he's been throwing everything since the beginning of camp. He feels very comfortable with his breaking ball, and under the watchful eye of Larry Rothschild, Rich Hill goes out there with a full arsenal today.
3-2 on Konerko. The pitch, fly ball, deep left center field. Merton is back, and it will get out for Paul Konerko. His first hit of the spring is a solo home run, and it's 1-0 White Sox. And as we mentioned, the wind did not help Konerko on that swing.
Paul Konerko usually doesn't need too much help if he gets a hold of a pitch, and at full extension through the zone on that one. Got great carry. Catches the ball out in front of home plate. It was down a little bit, really allowing Konerko to extend those arms, use the power, cast it high in the air to left center, and it just continued to carry.
Another one of the White Sox regulars, Jermaine Dye. Well, this is a home run hitting team, the White Sox. Very powerful middle of their lineup. Jim Thome not with the club today. Of course, they train in Tucson. This is the only time the White Sox will be in Mesa this spring. And the Cubs will make the trek south in the middle of the month. Three and 0 now on Jermaine Dye. Well, we have a few guests we will be talking to today, including one of the new members of the Cubs coaching staff, Alan Trammell, the bench coach. We'll say hi to Lou Piniella. Jim Hendry, the general manager. What an offseason he had. 3-2 on Dye. A couple of decades in a Detroit Tigers uniform and a former manager in Detroit. And a lot of energy.
Alan Trammell is the camp coordinator, which means he's responsible for scheduling each and every field, each and every batting cage and bullpen mound, and making sure all the players get where they're supposed to get for workouts.
Mark DeRosa's goes out and will make the catch. Konerko with the 2-out home run, 2 strikeouts for Rich Hill in the opening inning. Cubs coming up.
High gas prices stopping you in your tracks? Fly, don't drive. With Southwest Airlines Internet specials, you can fly nonstop from Chicago Midway to all these cities in the Midwest for just $49 one way.
You are now free to move about the country.
So I'm here with George, and let me ask you this. Was it heavy lifting that beam?
Oh, yeah. It hurts sometimes.
I bet, man. It seems to be our lower back that ends up having all the pain. You ever just get stuck?
Oh, yeah. Been there a number of times.
So what do you do when you get stuck?
I take a bear and unstick it.
Upright is good.
Upright is very good.
Bear aspirin. Painkiller, lifesaver. Bear aspirin. Expect wonders.
Expect wonders.
Wait a minute, that's my line.
This is really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check outside.
Oh, this hotel sure is peaceful. Wow. Don't book the right room in the wrong place. Send in the experts at Hotels.com. With their advanced mapping technology, finding the perfect hotel in the perfect location is now easier than ever. So log on or call now. Hold the door. Hotels.com. We know hotels inside and out.
Cubs coming up against right-hander John Garland. We're going to win it all this year. Cub fans excited going into the 07 season, and one of the big reasons is Alfonso Soriano. We know he can hit. The question is, can he play and get comfortable in center field? That's really the only question for him here in spring training. Jumps on the first pitch, and it's Anderson going back and be over his head. One hops the fence. Showing that pop, it is a leadoff double for Soriano. Man, that ball really jumped.
Now Soriano, a lot of hands. You see a lot of movement with the lower body, but really the key to his swing is how he drives that big heavy bat through the hitting zone, uses the heaviest bat in the major leagues, and when he gets the barrel on it out in front of home plate, it'll go a long way. Surprising power for the wiry frame of Alfonso Soriano, and that time just hit a line drive that froze Brian Anderson initially in center field and then shot over his head.
Now Matt Merton playing left field, and a big day on Friday against the Angels. 3 for 3 with a home run and 4 knocked in. Might split some time this year with Cliff Floyd, a Chicago native who was signed in the offseason. Cliff had Achilles surgery late last year, and the Cubs just being cautious with him, so he has yet to make his Cactus League debut. We'll probably see him within the next week or so. And the Cubs have too many outfielders, and that's a good sign. A lot of depth.
And a lot of depth with experience, which you really like to have. But Cliff Floyd standing around the batting cage today, to a man, the Cubs were just in awe of the way he swings the bat, the line drives that he hits in batting practice. You mentioned that wind that was kind of blowing out to left field in batting practice was blowing pretty much straight in from right field, and Cliff Floyd was just hitting line drives after line drive out into that bullpen in right field. Really has caught the attention of his teammates.
3-0 on the patient Matt Merton. The kick and the pitch from Garland, and he walked him. First 2 are on for Derek Lee as we get the rest of Lou Piniella's lineup for today's spring training outing against the Sox. Brought to you by Pepsi, your world, your Pepsi. Lee and Ramirez coming up. Jock Jones in right. One of the newcomers, Mark DeRosa. Blanco is Torres and Hill at the bottom for the Cubs. A double and a walk in front of Derek Lee, who played in just 50 games last year because of the broken wrist. Saw him at the batting cage. He feels great. And most importantly, and I know a lot of people are probably wondering about his daughter Jada, she is doing very well. And certainly Derek and his wife Christina appreciate all the support from Cub fans. You might have noticed in the Open we had the Believe the Unseen bracelets on. And if you would like to order one, it's firsttouch.org. 1STTOUCH.org. You can order one of those Project 3000 bracelets. And we also have some more information on our baseball blog at WGNTV.com.
A bluff pickoff attempt to second base there. Soriano looked like he was trying to peer in and get the signs from Wiki Gonzalez behind home plate, and the White Sox nearly picked him off if Garland had thrown the ball.
A 6'6" right-hander with a 1-1 pitch. Caught the outside corner, according to Dana DeMuth, who's calling the balls and strikes. Bob Davidson and Jim Reynolds on the bases. It is a three-man crew today.
John Garland with a solid season last year. 18 victories, ERA about 4.5. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, with the offense that the White Sox run out there on a daily basis, ERA is not always a great indicator for a starting pitcher. John Garland can afford to give up a few runs and know that his team is going to get him back in it.
It's pulled foul past new third base coach Mike Quaddy, former manager at AAA Iowa. Mike has been a big league coach before with the Oakland A's, and he is working with the outfielders. So he and Alfonso Soriano getting very familiar with one another as Soriano learns center field. The other guy he's worked with is Felix P.A., Cubs' top prospect. Swing and a miss, and that's the first out as Derek Lee strikes out.
That's a pitch that a lot of major league hitters are going to have trouble with early in spring training. That good straight changeup. Good arm speed from John Garland gets Derek Lee out in front. He's in a protect mode at the plate anyway with 2 strikes. He sees the ball out of Garland's hand, thinks it's a fastball, and unfortunately gets out in front too much.
So 1 out in the inning. There's a Ramos Ramirez, 38 home runs, 119 knocked in 06. Chopper to short, Valito, Spivey, Konerko, and that is an easy inning-ending double play. It goes 6-4-3. Cubs threaten and do not score. 1-0 Sox after 1.
Couldn't sleep at all last night.
For the rest you can't get Unisom. Unisom is clinically proven to get you to sleep faster and ease you into your healthy sleep cycle to naturally restore you. Unisom, for sleep that restores.
One morning, you wake up, and there it is. Gray hair. And you wonder, will people see me for who I really am? How do you break out of that?
Just for Men stops gray from hiding who you are with 5-minute target gray technology. Easy.
Today's a whole new ball game, and then you wonder, why did I ever put up with gray hair?
Let the real you come through. Stay in the game with Just for Men.
Leonardo, I'm sensing a great threat. We need to be a family once again.
On March 23rd.
Within hours, we'll lose the city to monsters.
I have to disagree with you on that one. 4 brothers will unite as one. Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo.
Yeah!
TMNT.
Got any moves left? Use this one!
Rated PG. In theaters March 23rd.
America's funniest home videos. Weeknights on Superstation WGN.
Cub fans enjoying some sunshine here in the Valley. 1-0 White Sox. As we start the second inning. Well, baby, I hope you had a great winter. We had a lot of fun Cubs convention weekend. Our first Lennon Bob Bash at the House of Blues with Ryan Adams and the Red Walls and rock star Bob Brenly.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if the fans had as much fun as we did, it was a great evening for everybody. That was so much fun.
Seems like just yesterday. And usually when you get to the Cubs convention, that's when you really start to think about spring training. It flew by. Got a quick story about the Cub convention. Former Cub pitcher Les Lancaster was in attendance. And I had maybe 3 people come up to me with a Les Lancaster baseball card. They asked me to sign it. Apparently Len Casper became Les Lancaster.
You can see the mistake.
Yeah.
You guys don't look much alike.
Well, my guess would be that somebody said, "Who's that?" Someone said Len Casper, and they thought it was Lancaster.
Oh, yeah.
So I was flattered.
Did you sign it anyway?
No, I didn't.
That's been known to happen, you know.
Oh, yeah. Now, should I sign it Les Lancaster?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good high fastball up above the belt from Rich Hill. You mentioned earlier in the ball game that curveball is his signature pitch, and fastball is a work in progress. But if he can elevate it like that with 2 strikes, he should get a lot of swinging strikes.
So Field strikes out. It's Rob Makoviak. He fouls away. The White Sox won 90 last year, and that was only good enough for 3rd place in the American League Central. That hit Makoviak, and he Fernando Viña'd it, which has become a verb in baseball, and takes his base. There's Ozzie Guillen.
There's never a good time to get hit by a pitch, but if you have to, make it be a big, slow breaking ball and take it on the wallet and head on down to first base. No problem. You know, unlike the regular season when the lineup many times is dictated by whether the starting pitcher is a righty or a lefty, in spring training, occasionally you'll have a guy like Rob Makoviak who's asked to go up there and do battle against a tough lefty like Rich Hill. And it's just the nature of the beast and something that managers watch for to see which of their left-handed hitters can give you a good at bat against a left-handed pitcher. But Makoviak would probably much rather face a right-hander today.
Now the writers brought up to Lou Piniella that Rich Hill was the guy on the mound when the Barrett-Perzinski incident occurred, and after the game Rich Hill stuck up for Michael and criticized AJ. That was in May. Hill was really scuffling at the time. Afterwards, because of his performance, not because of what he said, he was demoted to AAA. Well, he dominated once again in the minor leagues, but then, Bob, when he came back for good, he was the Rich Hill that the Cubs have been waiting to see. And so that was kind of a benchmark moment for Rich Hill in his big league career.
Hey, you never know what that turning point is going to be. Sometimes it's a positive thing that you build on and move forward. Sometimes it's a negative thing that you learn from and become a better pitcher, become a better teammate.
Right now he's facing Wiki Gonzalez. He's catching today. No Perzinski, no Barrett in their respective lineups. And speaking of Michael Barrett, I mean, the news this week about what he's going to do to help the cause that we talked about. The eye disease that Jada Lee has is called Leber's congenital amaurosis, and Michael Barrett has joined the fight against it. So he announced the other day he's going to make a $50,000 donation to the cause, and he's also going to donate $10,000 for every home run he hits in the regular season. I mean, that's amazing, and it says a lot about Michael. It says a lot about Derek and Grace, who is Michael Barrett's daughter. Very good friends with Jada, and Michael said it's Grace's gift to Jada. So that is great news. Little dribbler to short. Is Torres to DeRosa's a turn 2. Nicely done. So that'll be it for Rich Hill. He gives up a run in 2 innings of work today. 1-0 White Sox.
What does every man want 7 nights a week?
Baseball.
Beers. Super Bowl Sunday.
Basketball. Foosball. Cigars.
The smell of high karate.
The pay-per-view fight. And the Zaza Zoo.
Yeah, they've got that.
Why don't you just take off your dress and kill me now?
Sex in the City. Now, 7 nights a week.
Oh, honey, I can't wait any longer.
Is it just a chick show? I don't think so.
Want some?
Weeknights at 11 on Superstation WGN.
What are you doing?
Should we pick him up? He has Bud Light.
He has an axe.
But he has Bud Light.
And an axe.
I'm sure there's a reason for it. Hey, buddy. What's with the axe?
It's a bottle opener.
Hop in.
Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Look, here's Bud Light.
And a chainsaw.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it.
What I love about her?
What I love about him.
How much time do we have?
I love Thomas because he's just...
I really actually couldn't even begin to tell you what I love about her because it's pretty much everything.
I love everything about Sharon.
Everything.
Everything. I love him as he is.
Well, look at her. She's incredible.
He's the most romantic man I've ever met.
I know that when I'm with Kathy, we're going to be happy. And we're going to be happy next week and next month and next year.
eHarmony.com. Log on today. America's funniest home videos, weeknights on Superstation WGN.
Bob and Len with you. It is our first spring telecast from Hohokam Park in Mesa, Arizona. 29th consecutive spring in Mesa. For the Cubs, that's the longest active streak in the Cactus League. And in fact, the White Sox are looking to move up to the Phoenix area in a couple of years. If they can find somebody to take their place in Tucson, they'll be here in 2009. And on the headset down on the field is the new Cubs manager, Lou Piniella. Lou, Len and Bob with you. How are you?
How are you guys doing?
All right, Lou, how's everything going down there?
Everything's going great.
Jock Jones leading off the bottom half of the second inning. Well, you're back in the National League. How does that feel?
Well, I was in the National League 3 years with Cincinnati, and I really enjoyed it. The manager has to do a lot more thinking. National League wise, he's more involved in the ball game with the double switches, taking your pitcher out, the bunting, the hitting and running, and those sort of things. And one-run baseball to me means a lot more in the National League than it does in the American League. So I like this style of play.
Well, that being said, Lou, how in the heck do you not bunt Derek Lee in the first inning with 2 runners on, nobody out?
Well, if you're Gene Mock, you might do that. I don't believe in bunting early in the ball game. I like the idea of putting crooked numbers on. I do like the idea of bunting later on in the ball game, especially when you have a lead, so that you can add on a run and make the other team score a few more. But I tell you, Lee and Ramirez are 2 pretty good hitters. Garland just a good pitcher, and he's a little bit ahead of the hitters right now.
Lou, before we get back to the baseball stuff, we certainly want to welcome you to the north side of Chicago. You live, of course, in Tampa, your hometown, in the offseason, and I know we've talked about all the Cub fans you ran into during the winter after you took this job. Can you talk about being embraced by Cub Nation, as it were?
Well, Cub Nation in Tampa, Florida, there are a lot of Cub fans down in the Tampa Bay area. I was astounded. Just in my, I live in a little, in a gated community called Avila, and alone in Avila there were tons of Cub fans. I had to call our PR department and had a steady shipment of Cub hats. But I'll tell you, it's good to see that there's such great support for this great organization throughout the country, and I look forward to the challenge of bringing the people here in Chicago and Cub fans all over the country a really good baseball team, and I'm very confident that we will.
That has to be a little surprising. I don't know if you've seen the billboard yet in Chicago, but I imagine that at some point this summer when you're driving to or from the ballpark, you're going to look up and see your mug on the side of the building. How's that make you feel?
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know anything about that, but I do know that the players are the ones that win baseball games on the field. So all the success and all the recognition, as far as I'm concerned, can go to our fine ball players. But you know, I'm flattered. But I just soon see Derek's or Soriano's or DeRosa or Ramirez or Zambrano or whomever else. How about yourself too, Bob?
It's all about the players, Lou. I mean, that's one thing I think any manager learns very quickly, no matter how smart you think you might be. If your players don't go out and play the game the way they're supposed to, it reflects very badly upon the manager.
Well, I agree with you. There's no question. The players are the ones that play on the field. The players are the ones that win baseball games for you. And what the manager has to do is keep them motivated and keep them hungry and keep them playing. And playing with a little passion and a little heart and playing to win. And that's what we're going to do here with myself and my staff. But I like the idea of just staying in the background and letting the players have all the attention.
You mentioned the Cubby swagger at the beginning of camp. That's that inner confidence, right?
Inner confidence, knowing that you're going to come to the ballpark and compete and play hard and possibly win a ball game. If you don't, you tip your cap to the other team, and you come back and you do the same thing the next day. You do that every day, and you've got talent, which we do. Good things are going to happen. And when a team starts winning with a little regularity, that's when that swagger really starts to kick in.
Well, Lou, we're looking forward to a great year. Great to have you here. Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
The tears, the talent, and the outtakes. American Idol Rewind. Saturdays on Superstation WGN.
Do you have a dinosaur?
No.
Do you have the space shuttle?
No.
What do you have?
Well, we have a display of the local gopher in his natural habitat.
That's not a gopher.
Yeah, it is.
Take them to a place that has it all. Fly one of Southwest Airlines' 15 daily nonstops from Chicago Midway to Baltimore, Washington, or Washington Dulles International for just $59 one way. Purchased by May 17th.
You are now free to move about the country.
Who's counting on your brakes today? Your brakes are too important to trust to just anyone. That's why you should come to Midas now. At Midas, brake pads or shoes are just $89.95 per axle installed. Be safe.
Just a Midas touch.
Banana Pudding Shake. New at Sonic. With Nilla wafers and real bananas, it's a frozen twist on a classic dessert. The new Banana Pudding Shake. Pay the Sonic way. Swipe your credit or My Sonic card from your car.
It's ready.
Introducing Gillette Fusion Hydrogel. Fusion's hydrating emollients and lubricants form an invisible layer that protects your skin from the first stroke to the last, adding more comfort to your shave. Gillette Fusion Hydrogel.
It's America's favorite teen queen, Lizzie McGuire. Weekday afternoons, only on Superstation WGN.
Top three, 1-0 White Sox. Hey, Cub fans, tickets are still available for Cub home games on weekdays in April and May. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Call 1-800-THE-CUBS or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Well, we've got about 5 weeks for the weather to get it right. Boy, it was a brutal month of February in Chicago, and a cold, wet, snowy start to the month of March.
That means it's going to be a beautiful spring and summer.
That's right. The home opener this year will be against the Houston Astros on April 9th. Cubs will open on the road. 3 in Cincinnati and then 3 in Milwaukee. Young Juan Mateo now on the hill. He made the leap from Double-A to the big leagues last year. And he's facing Junior Spivey, who's playing second base for the White Sox. Konerko with a home run in the first inning, the only run to this point. Inside corner.
Junior Spivey, a guy I had in Arizona looking to resurrect his career here with the White Sox. Has suffered some injuries over the last couple of years. Has never been able to reach that level that he once accomplished. This guy's a very talented player, though. Runs extremely well, good defender, has some pop in his bat. Just needs to stay healthy.
The wind and the offering. Soriano flips down the shades and in right center takes care of it.
I think that's something that we should grow accustomed to seeing from Soriano, at least initially this year, till he gets more comfortable out there in center field. He's such a great athlete. He's not always going to take the proper direct line to where the ball's coming down, especially when he's messing with those sunglasses, but manages to get a beat on the ball, come back in a couple steps, and make a nice catch.
And of course, he was a second baseman prior to last year with Washington. Made the switch to left field, and at first wasn't all that enamored with making that switch, but he became a pretty good left fielder. And in fact, Alfonso led the major leagues with 22 outfield assists, so he has a strong arm. The 2-0 to John Garland, who, by the way, is making his second start of the year, so stretch him out a little bit today. And he fouls it off to the right. Of course, Soriano signed an 8-year contract. And is as exciting a player as we'll probably see in baseball. He can do it all. He can hit home runs. He can steal bases. The one thing he probably won't do a whole lot, as Garland strikes out, is bunt. He's not a typical leadoff hitter in that regard.
He's very much a free swinger. I mean, normally a leadoff hitter, you picture a little guy who runs well and slaps the ball around the field, takes a lot of pitches. That is not his MO. He's going to look for a good pitch to hit in the strike zone early in the count and put a good swing on it.
Back to the top, and Brian Anderson. He's 0 for 1. Well, you're going to head out to Peoria, Arizona tomorrow. Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood will pitch in the same game tomorrow.
I think that's worth the drive. Absolutely going to go over there and check that one out.
Ted Lilly will also pitch. Pryor will start. He'll go 2 innings. Ted Lilly will go 2. And then Kerry Wood will get an inning a little bit later on. And that, to be honest with you, is probably the best news of the first week of spring training. Mark Pryor, the last 3 Cactus Leagues, has made a total of 1 appearance. And I just think getting him into that routine that everybody else is in is very important early on.
Well, I think we're seeing a different Mark Pryor, at least the few conversations I've had with him. He seems to be a very motivated camper down here this spring.
A nice 1-2-3 inning for Juan Mateo. 2.5 in the books. 1 zip Sox.
How long is this gonna last? I'm ready to hit the Bud Light. I already took care of it.
Say, well, all right, now we are gathered here today to join in marriage, Bob and Julie. Bob, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do I hear and I do, I do, do I hear and I do?
I do.
Julie, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Do I hear and I do, I do, do I hear and I do?
I do.
Going once, going twice, and I'll pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
And away we go.
Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
So what I owe you? 100, 100 and a quarter, 100 and a half, 175, 200, 200 and a quarter.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva. Men get it.
Hi, how are you?
Great. We're treating ourselves tonight.
Oh, anniversary? Birthday?
No, it's
just Monday. Well, Mondays are good.
Olive Garden introduces 2 new Alfredos. New crab Venezia with tender, delicious snow crab in our homemade seafood Alfredo sauce. Or try new grilled steak in portobello with marinated steak in a mushroom Alfredo. Both with endless breadsticks and salad.
Don't you just love Mondays?
Mondays are great. Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
What up, Pete?
Yo, I got an idea.
America's
America's funniest home videos, weeknights on Superstation WGN.
Cesar Torres with his first at bat today. Switch hitting shortstop. Acquired from the Dodgers. Or Greg Maddux last year. And he comes into camp healthy, which is good news. Of course, last year came back from Tommy John surgery. Had some hamstring issues. And he's ready to go.
Hey, you know, Len, I think when you have a new middle infield tandem, and certainly as Torres was here for the end of the season last year, but Mark DeRosa in the mix now, and I talked to Mark for a long time today about working with this Torres and getting their timing around second base. And as we saw with that double play to end the first inning, these guys have put in a lot of work. The timing seems to be there already.
Polito take care of his Torres. Well, it's blog time. Cub fans, don't forget to check out our WGN baseball blog. Go to WGNTV.com. Click on the Len and Bob's blog link. Our podfather, Bob Vorwald, did a fantastic job with the blog over the winter, and Bob and I will be back to regular contributor status very soon. Len and Bob's blog on WGNTV.com. Don't miss it. Yeah, that is Kerry Wood. He has lost a ton of weight. Made some headlines early in spring training with a little hot tub mishap, but that was no big deal. And again, he will pitch tomorrow for the Cubs in relief against Seattle in Peoria, Arizona. The Cubs have depth, and they don't have to count on Mark Pryor necessarily going into the season. They have a deep bullpen already, but there is no question that if those guys do what we think they can do, this team could go from really good to possibly great, in my opinion. Bouncer over the mound. The speedy Juan Mateo barely thrown out by 3 steps.
Yeah, Juan's been working on his jump out of the batter's box down here this spring. Spun his wheels just a little bit, although he's been used as a pinch runner in the past.
Yeah. That was an adventure.
Boy, I love to watch Soriano come up from the on-deck circle. If you ever saw a guy that was anxious to get in that batter's box and swing the bat, it's Alfonso Soriano. He was almost running up to the plate as Mateo was thrown out at first.
Breaker for a strike.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with Alfonso Soriano, I will tell you this: he is a tremendous low ball hitter. He hits pitches that catchers are dropping down to their knees to block behind home plate. I have nightmares about Game 7 of the World Series in 01 when Alfonso Soriano in a tie ball game took Curt Schilling deep to left field on a pitch that was headed for the dirt. Damian Miller had already dropped down to his shin guards to block the pitch, and somehow Soriano managed to get the head of the bat on the ball and lift it to the left field for a home run that gave the Yankees a short-lived lead.
Well, we'll once again be reading and answering your emails all season long. And if you'd like to email Bob and me, our new email address, lenandbob@aol.com. We'll read them all. Try to get as many as possible on during the broadcasts. Soriano showed more patience last year than in previous years. To get that walk total up a little bit, but he's a very aggressive guy at the plate, and that's a fine line, isn't it? You don't want to take away too much of that aggressiveness.
I mean, you have to be realistic. Alfonso Soriano at this stage of his career, he is what he is. I mean, he's not going to suddenly draw 100 walks. He's going to go up there and get his hacks in. He's going to get his home runs, his base hits. And he's going to have a lot of very quick at-bats as well. When he swings at the first or second pitch and puts it in play weakly or right at somebody, that's going to happen a lot as well.
He will strike out. Last year he struck out 160 times. But one of the things that Gerald Perry, the new Cubs hitting coach, will preach is being more patient. And that on-base percentage, what a beautiful swing that was. Soriano 2 for 2.
Nice defensive inside-out swing here. Pitch is actually down away from him. Once again, down below the knees. Just drops the head of that big, heavy bat on the ball and drives it through the right side of the infield. Now the fun really starts. But what a great weapon it is to have a leadoff hitter that not only can take you out of the ballpark if you make a mistake, but even if he gets on base, he might find himself in scoring position a pitch or two later. Big lead down at first.
Soriano looking for his first stolen base in the spring.
Spring training is traditionally a tough time to steal bases because teams, as part of their daily work, go over fundamentals every day. They do pickoff plays, they do trick pickoff plays. They have their pitchers work on their moves to the bases. And being that this is spring training and the games don't really count, this is a time for pitchers and infielders to work on those pickoff plays. So much tougher to steal bases in the Cactus League or the Grapefruit League than it will be during the regular season.
First player ever to have a 40-40-40 season. Home runs, stolen bases, doubles.
That's a guy that just loves to play baseball too. I mean, you can really sense it on some players when you walk into the clubhouse or around the batting cage that they really enjoy being at the ballpark and putting on the uniform and getting out there and running around the bases, making things happen. And Alfonso is one of those guys. He just has a sheer joy to play this game.
Garland gets the sign. And the pitch. Well, you know me with numbers. Since Soriano's at first and Merton's at the plate, if you look at 2006, Alfonso Soriano was one of the most drastic fly ball hitters in all of baseball, and the guy at the plate was just the opposite. Matt Merton was a big-time ground ball hitter. Cubs actually had 3 guys right at the top. You know, in that top 10 in ground ball to fly ball percentage. Juan Pierre now with the Dodgers, Jock Jones, and Matt Merton. Hit hard on the ground, but right at Josh Fields. He'll get the short out at second. And that ends the threat 1-0 after 3.
The weather was so much better yesterday.
A bad day in Florida beats a good day almost anywhere else. With over 40 daily flights from Chicago Midway to the Sunshine State, Southwest Airlines is taking low fares farther.
You are now free to move about the country.
Hi, I'm Keith Hernandez.
And I'm Walt Clyde Frazier.
What a marvelous night for the action.
Let's go to the play-by-play.
Oh, there's Mr. Graybeard approaching Miss Hottie. Oh, no.
Rejected.
Clyde, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, no play for Mr. Gray. Get that man our Just for Men Brush In Color Gel.
It's specially formulated to penetrate coarse facial hair and gets rid of gray in 5 easy minutes.
Home run. Another win with Just for Men.
Long have we been in hiding, perhaps too long. We must return to the surface to take back what is ours. We stand together as a family. For honor. For justice.
I love being a turtle!
On March 23rd. Only in theaters. TMNT. Rated PG. Starts March 23rd.
So Joe here keeps his company's book straight and runs a pretty tight ship at home. Wow.
I'm a 15-year cancer survivor. Since that experience, health is very, very important to me.
Well, I guess that's where the bear comes in.
My doc says to take it from my heart, so I do. Like clockwork.
I can see that. Bear aspirin helps prevent 1 out of 3 heart attacks.
Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
Bear aspirin. Expect wonders.
1-0 White Sox leading the Cubs. Top of the 4th inning. We have the new Cubs bench coach hooked up, and that is, of course, Alan Trammell, the MVP of the 1984 World Series, 6-time All-Star, one of the greatest shortstops of all time. And you look great in Cubs pinstripes, Alan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to be back, and it's been a great camp so far, working with Lou and the new staff. And we're going to win some ball games. I know we're starting off a little slow, but we're just kind of getting our feet wet.
You know, Alan, seeing you down there with your shades on and the headset, you look like an air traffic controller. And I mentioned earlier, as the camp coordinator, you are a little bit. You've got a lot of bodies and a lot of facilities to move players around every day, and I'm sure that schedule takes up a majority of your morning.
Bob, you're absolutely right. It's been a challenge, but I like challenges. And after being out for a year and just kind of sitting back and watching from afar, coordinating has not been something I've ever done. But with some help from the coaching staff and others, I've got some good experience. So, but believe me, I know I'm getting the camp coordinator, but there's been a lot of help.
Well, Alan, full disclosure here, and I know you and I have talked off the air. You were my favorite player growing up, so I'll just put that out on the table right now. But you know, they talk about people playing the game the right way, and you did that throughout your career. Great double play combination with Lou Whitaker. And talk about what you learned from Sparky Anderson as a player and then, of course, as a manager.
Well, very similar to what Lou and what we're trying to bring here is playing the game the right way. And I know that gets talked and said an awful lot, but you've got to follow through with it. And you got to give them really what I'd call tough love. And you've got to correct them. And you know, sometimes players don't like to hear it, but again, it's only for in the best interest of the team. And that's what we want to. You look back, and Lou and I talking about the Seattle days and the clubs that he had there. They were a good team, and that's what we're trying to stress here is execution and not beating yourself.
Runner at first, Paul Konerko homered in the 1st inning, is at the plate. Now tell me if I have this right. You never played at Wrigley in the regular season or the postseason, but you did have a pinch hit appearance in the All-Star game, correct?
Randy Myers, yep, he popped me up. I remember.
That's going to be fun, though, right? Wrigley Field, a place that unfortunately you didn't get to play at during your playing days in the regular season, but it's just an unbelievable ballpark.
Well, as an old school kind of guy, you know, I played my entire home career at Tiger Stadium, which was very special. And Wrigley Field is right up there. I mean, if not better, as far as you know, the nostalgia and the fans. And I coached 3 years in San Diego and got a chance to come there at least a couple times. But I really, 81 games there, it's going to be great.
You know, Alan, playing all those years with Sweet Lou Whitaker, we were talking just an inning ago about Mark DeRosa and Cesar Asturias, the middle infielders trying to get on the same page, get their rhythm and timing together down there at second base. How do you see that progressing so far this spring?
So far, so good. I mean, both, you know, Izzy won a Gold Glove a few years ago with the Dodgers, and Mark's a professional. He's a guy that is going to make the plays, and what we want to do and what we're trying to stress is, like, you know, make the routine plays. The great plays are a bonus. And obviously we have them working together on a regular basis, you know, getting the extra work in and playing most of the time this spring training schedule. You'll see them working together in the games just because we want to make sure that we get that timing down.
2-2 on Konerko. Here's a pitch from Mateo. It's high, 3-2. Guys, one of my dreams this year, and BB will probably have this happen around the batting cage. You'll have Ernie Banks. Well, you know, if Ryan Sandberg can make the trip maybe with his team from Peoria, Alan Trammell and Ron Santo, what an infield that would have been.
Got a good ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I think, and one thing that all of those guys that you mentioned knew how to play the game, and I don't want to, I can't stress it enough, is what we're trying to get across. Not that other people haven't tried it, but this is really what the message is about. If we're going to win, you know, talent isn't enough. You've got to be able to execute. When you get into these close games, which you're going to when you win, there's X amount of those games. You've got to win it. You've got to out-execute the other ball club.
And Konerko walks.
And that's not what we're talking about right there. We're not talking about walking guys like that. We've got to make them put the ball in play.
Alan, we appreciate your time. Great to have you with us, and we're looking forward to a lot of fun here in 2007.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
It's Alan Trammell, and we'll get a chance to meet some of the newer coaches as we move along here in spring training. And Alan Trammell actually was a teammate of Larry Rothschild. Larry had a cup of coffee with the Detroit Tigers in the early 1980s. Larry, the only returning member of the coaching staff, and he was Lou Piniella's bullpen coach. Well, they won the World Series in Cincinnati in 1990.
Well, that was a great bullpen to ride herd on as well. Rob Dibble and Randy Myers, Norm Charlton, the nasty boys in that bullpen. Boy, when the phone rang, those guys had a fist fight to see who got to go in and pitch. They all love to get the ball.
Sometimes with their own manager.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, talking about what you don't want to do, walking the first two guys of an inning with Jermaine Dye coming up.
Well, Lou talked about that in the ball game yesterday with Oakland that ended up a 5-5 tie. He said before the game today that should have been a 7 or 8-3 win for us, a no-brainer. Phone it in. Let's go on to tomorrow. But a couple of walks late in the ball game, a hit batter, and suddenly the A's were right back in the ball game. And those are the kind of things that Alan Trammell referred to and Lou has referred to all spring long. We're not going to beat ourselves. We're not going to issue those leadoff walks late in a close ball game.
The Cubs are looking for their first win. They are 0-2-1. But as new Cubs president John McDonough pointed out before the ball game, they did get a point for the tie. So they're on the board. You know, they don't have shootouts like they do in the NHL. So still have ties. Although, I should say that with the new rules changes, one of the new wrinkles is that there will no longer be ties. Occasionally, John McDonough, Jim Hendry, Crane Kenny enjoying the ball game today. Dye deep, and that will be a 3-run homer. And that's why you don't want to walk two guys in front of him. And it's 4-0. This is a lineup with Konerko, Dye, we mentioned Tomey. They will make you pay.
Especially after back-to-back walks to start this fourth inning. Boy, you put a pitch right down the heart of the plate to a good hitter like Jermaine Dye. He's going to make you pay. Boy, those fast.
Fields pops it up right side. Foul ground. Derek Lee has a beat on it. Does he have room? Nope.
Check the location of this fastball to a great fastball hitter. That one had a recipe on it. Keep your shoulder in. Don't overstride. Don't overswing. Keep your head down through the ball.
By the way, he's going to be a free agent and will make a ton of money next offseason.
How much is a ton of money?
Well, it's more than it used to be, apparently.
That says something about the game when we're measuring contracts by weight.
Nobody out. 2 walks and then a home run to start the inning. He can tell you what a ton of money is. $136 million over 8 years.
That's almost as good as the contract you got.
Well, wasn't supposed to get out. I just wanted a free seat in the press box.
Yeah, I hear
That's
you.
all I asked
hear
for.
you. Best seat in the house.
Full count on Josh Fields.
I used to get the biggest kick out of that when I would hear fans on call-in shows or whatever saying, player can't make that kind of a mistake. He's making $15 million a year. Well, the reality is, if you're making $1 a year, you shouldn't make the kind of mistakes that we were talking about, fundamental mistakes. The amount of money that you make really doesn't have any bearing on the way you play the game. Just on the results that you've been able to accrue over the last number of seasons that allowed you to sign that kind of a contract.
Well, you think about the matchup the other day. Barry Zito against Alfonso Soriano in a Cactus League game. You don't want Zito to hit Soriano with a pitch, and you don't want Soriano to hit a liner off Zito. GMs and owners very nervous. Rob Makoviak gets a hold of one out toward the bullpen, and the White Sox have hit 3 home runs, 5-0.
Did we mention this White Sox team is built for power? Flexing their muscles here in a spring training game. 3 home runs already through the first 4 innings of this ball game. Certainly the most costly home run was Dyes following those 2 walks, but Makoviak, the latest to tee off here, pitched down and in. That's a happy zone for most left-handed hitters. Throws the head of the bat of it, big long stride, hooks it back to right field. A line drive that stayed under the little bit of wind that's blowing right now.
And that'll be it for Juan Mateo, giving up 4 runs in this inning. Pitching change, 5-zip White Sox.
Behold the power of Phantom. Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Fusion power is so advanced you barely feel the blades. Shaving can create uncomfortable friction. Turn on Fusion Power. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction and increase razor glide. You'll barely feel the blades. You'll really feel the difference. The comfort of 5 blades plus the precision of 1. Fusion Power Phantom. Gillette, the best a man can get.
When your in-home disasters become America's biggest laughter, we've got it all caught on tape. Every weeknight, you get all the hilarious moments of AFE. Even when things go extremely wrong, laughter makes it oh so right. It's the cranks, pranks, and all-out stupid maneuvers that make Monday nights a splash. Join Tom Bergeron as he brings you the ultimate in reality television.
Common sense is the enemy of comedy. My new motto, stop thinking, start taping.
It's a knockdown, flipped around good time. So when life gets a little crazy, remember to take some time to laugh. America's funniest home videos. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on Superstation WGN. It's great to be home.
Right-hander John Webb will take over for Mateo. Gave up 2 home runs in this inning. Wiki Gonzalez, a batter. And ball 1. John Webb, originally a 19th round pick of the Cubs in 1999. Sounded like he busted his bat. And that is a flare single for Gonzalez. Back in February of 2004, John Webb broke his leg while walking his dog down a flight of stairs. Now, there's never a good time to break your leg while walking your dog, but right before spring training is probably the worst time you could do it. He was with the Cubs organization at the time and was then claimed off waivers by Tampa Bay, and his only big league time has come with the Rays.
I don't believe Webb was on the schedule to pitch today, but every manager brings along a few extra pitchers just in the event that one of his guys throws too many pitches, gets in a big jam, and you don't just want to leave him out there to die. So John Webb is a guy that was, we used to call him piggyback pitchers. You bring them along with the idea that they're not going to pitch, but if somebody gets in trouble, he knows that he needs to get ready in a hurry. Finds himself here in the ballgame.
By the way, no update on how the dog fared in that little spill. Spivey, bounding ball to short. He's tourist to DeRosa, but they won't turn the double play. Good stretch by Dealey at the other end, but Spivey safe.
Spivey runs too well, and that ball really wasn't hit hard enough to turn a double play, but Hey, with a guy like Derek Lee over there at first base, if you're a middle infielder and you think you have any chance at all of getting the ball over there to get the batter runner, you might as well let it go. DeRosa with kind of an off-balance throw here, getting out of the way of the base runner and throws it in the dirt. But as usual, Derek Lee with a nice pick at first, Spivey with just too much speed.
Kenny Perez hitting for John Garland. Outside corner for a strike.
Keep on looking. Keep looking.
In lieu of a graphic, we'll just give you the back of his jersey. Great to have our WGN sports crew, our traveling roadshow with us. Pete Toma, our producer, Skip Ellison, our director, our associate producer, Mark Big Daddy Brady with the green shoes today. Our executive producer, Bob Borwald. Did you see the tennis shoes Mr. Brady had on today? Said the most comfortable shoes he's ever had.
I saw him when
function, not fashion.
I saw him when I got off the freeway about 3 miles from here. There was a glow coming from Hohokam Park, and it turned out to be Brady's shoes. Those things are nuclear.
It's tourist to Lee, and the inning is over. Big inning for the White Sox. They scored 4 times.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, I've been working on this plan for 3 years, and today's the day.
Okay.
Every Friday, the same Bud Light delivery guy takes the same route past us.
Okay.
You're the only one who can make the leap.
Okay.
When I say go, you jump over, grab some Bud Light, and jump back.
Okay.
Okay, here he comes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and go.
What'd you say?
Refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Seriously, what'd you say?
Just when you think the moment is right, it may have to wait a while. Relax. You have up to 36 hours with Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to work up to 36 hours. 36 hours can be the difference between being interrupted and being ready, when finally the moment is right. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. So relax. Time is on your side. 36-hour Cialis. When the moment is right, will you be ready?
Time now to have a ball with our friends at the Illinois Lottery.
Keep your day job. Well, the Lennon Bob Bash. We hope it becomes an annual event at the House of Blues, thanks to Bud Light and the Cubs. And look at Bob Brenly on the axe.
And Bono and U2 are shaking in their boots as we speak. A new challenger. Well, you got some Mick Jagger-like moves there.
Well, you're being kind, but I appreciate it. Bob Borwell, our executive producer, did a wonderful job in helping put the bash together. Jeff Schmidt from Bud Light, Mike Lafrano, everybody with the Chicago Cubs. It was a great night. Thanks to the guys from Stall, great power pop band from Milwaukee, for providing the backup. And we had fun just jamming in the basement, practicing. That was fun. You were giddy. I mean, you told me that was as much fun as you've ever had. And you've been in a World Series, been an all-star player, won the World Series as a manager, but I actually believed you when you said that.
Well, it was fun. I mean, you know, the old quote about, you know, every rock star wants to be a ball player and every ball player wants to be a rock star. That's pretty true in my case. And just to have an opportunity to stand on stage with guys who really do that kind of a thing. And they were very patient and very accepting of my abilities or lack thereof, and just made it a tremendous experience.
Well, you did a great job, and thanks to the Red Walls from Chicago, Ryan Adams, and his band, the Cardinals, putting on a great night of rock and roll and raised a lot of money for charity. Derek Lee sends it in the air deep to left field. This ball will go. It's a home run. And it's 5-1. Just got it over the fence. So Derek with his 4th hit in Cactus League play and his first home run.
Well, it's a great sight for Cub fans, just seeing a healthy Derek Lee swing the bat the way that we know he can. Lightning quick on a pitch inside, maybe even off the plate inside a little bit. Derek drives it just out of here to left field.
Facing the knuckleballer Charlie Hager. How did you fare against knuckleballers?
It's very mediocre, and I usually got to face the knuckleballer because, especially early in my career when both Necros were in the National League, Frank Robinson didn't want to mess up Milt May's swing, so I always got to face the knuckleballers. I had plenty of experience, not a lot of success. Hey, it's hard for most hitters. I mean, you're geared fastball. You've been seeing fastballs in batting practice and in the games up to this point, and suddenly you're facing somebody who flips the ball up there, 60 miles an hour with a lot of late movement. And some guys prefer not to face knuckleball pitchers. They feel it gets them away from their natural swing. They start to take a big, long swing, which is something you don't want to do against a traditional pitcher. But some guys have that ability to slow their swing down while facing a knuckleballer and then revert to their normal swing when they bring in another pitcher.
Hit hard on the ground, diving stab by Konerko, and the flip is in time. You mentioned the Necro brothers, and tragically Joe Necro passed away this past winter. And boy, Bob, we got more bad news today. Former Cubs catcher and a teammate of Ron Santo, Gene Oliver, has passed away. And certainly want to send along our deepest condolences to the family of Gene Oliver, who finished the game in August of 1969 back of the plate. Ken Holtzman's no-hitter against Atlanta. Condolences to Bob Dernier and his family. Bob's father passed away recently.
Come on, baby, crack one.
Bob Dernier back in uniform.
There you go.
Yeah, Bob's been a busy man this spring. One of the things Lou Piniella wanted to institute with this team is to be more aggressive on the bases, not necessarily to steal bases, but know when to take that extra base, know when to hold where you're at.
Dernier, the Cubs minor league outfield and base running coordinator. Derek Lee with a home run. Cubs on the board. They trail by 4.
Well, well. Looks like it's double credit time only at Southwest.com. Just go to Southwest.com to book an everyday low fare to California and earn double Rapid Rewards credit, and it's only when you purchase by March 8th and fly by April 4th.
You are now free to move about the country.
You're messing with the wrong guy.
We're up to 1 million hits. Sweet. Who is it?
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, right.
couldn't sleep at all last night.
For the rest you can't get Unisom. Unisom is clinically proven to get you to sleep faster and ease you into your healthy sleep cycle to naturally restore you. Unisom, for sleep that restores.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it.
Behold, the power of Phantom. Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Fusion Power is so advanced you barely feel the blades. Shaving can create uncomfortable friction. Turn on Fusion Power. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction and increase razor glide. You'll barely feel the blades. You'll really feel the difference. The comfort of 5 blades plus the precision of 1. Fusion Power Phantom. Gillette, the best a man can get.
We're in the 5th inning. Brian Anderson batting against John Webb. 5-1 White Sox. All the runs have resulted from home runs. The White Sox have hit 3. The Cubs got a solo shot. Leadoff home run from Derek Lee in the bottom of the 4th inning. Well, that dog apparently left the ballpark when he or she heard me singing.
That dog's got some identity.
Well, that would be
right
she,
there.
I would think. Wearing pink outfit. It's not John Webb's dog, is it?
Chicago Cubs Spring Training Baseball on WGN Sports is sponsored by Bud.TV. Log on or lose out.
Beautiful day in Mesa for Cubs baseball here on WGN Sports. A lot of fans in the offseason. When's your first game? When's your first game?
Today.
The wind and the 1-0 pitch to Robert Polito. Curveball strike. Well, I just don't get it. Ron Santo is a Hall of Famer, but he's not in the Hall of Fame. Came up 5 votes short last week. Webb will toss to Lee. I mean, he's going to get in. It's just a matter of when. And boy, it's been tough every other year. The Veterans Committee votes, and they haven't put anybody in the last 3 times since they reconfigured the Veterans Committee, now involving the Hall of Fame players. For me, I mean, of course, we're not totally objective because we know Ron, we love Ron, but even if you just look purely at the numbers, Bill James says he's a Hall of Famer. That's all I need to hear.
It's good enough for me. And I don't want to open a whole can of worms here. I mean, we all know Ron's had some health issues over the past number of years, and you know, God willing, we have Ronnie sitting next to us in that booth for years and years and years to come. But I'm not advocating everybody that's had health issues in their retirement be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But as you said, his numbers say he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I just think it would be a real sin to let this thing drag on into the indefinite future. And Ronnie suffers every year of that vote.
Paul Konerko with his 2nd home run, and that one went into the parking lot. Man.
Well, take him out and let him get his running in the outfield. He's had a heck of a day already. A couple home runs and a walk, 3 runs scored. Yeah, hopefully this will be the last swing we see from Paul Konerko today. Once again, it's on a fastball right down Main Street. The pitchers are not quite as fine as they will be later in spring and into the early part of the season. And boy, the hitters, as I said earlier, when you make a mistake with a fastball at this time of year, especially against a good hitting team like the White Sox, you're going to pay.
So his 2nd home run, the 4th for the visitors. 6-1. Well, the Hall of Fame committee is going to meet here within the next week or so, and it's possible there could be some changes to the voting system. Also great to see Pat Hughes along with Ron in the Cubs radio booth. Matt Boltz, their producer and engineer, will be joining them shortly. And hey, congratulations. We have mixed feelings because we're really going to miss Andy Mazer. But we're excited for him because he is now one of the voices on radio of the San Diego Padres. 6-1 White Sox. They have hit 4 home runs today.
Banana Pudding Shake. New at Sonic. With Nilla wafers and real bananas, it's a frozen twist on a classic dessert. The new Banana Pudding Shake. Pay the Sonic way. Swipe your credit or My Sonic card from your car.
Hi, how are you?
Great. We're treating ourselves tonight.
Oh, an anniversary? Birthday?
No, it's
Just Monday. Well, Mondays are good.
Olive Garden introduces 2 new Alfredos. New crab Venezia with tender, delicious snow crab in our homemade seafood Alfredo sauce. Or try new grilled steak in portobello with marinated steak and a mushroom Alfredo. Both with endless breadsticks and salad.
Don't you just love Mondays?
Mondays are great. Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Saturdays at 11:30 on Superstation WGN.
6-1 White Sox. Plan your next corporate function or family gathering in the comfort of the Wrigley Field Mezzanine Suites, presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. Be sure to ask about our April discount dates. To book your suite or for more information, call 773-404-CUBS or visit Cubs.com. Henry Blanco had a very solid offensive year last year with 266. And he pops it up, facing the knuckleballer Charlie Hager. 1 out. And the defensive changes have begun. We'll do our best. That's all I can promise you. As we like to say, we will announce the changes as balls are hit to those positions, assuming we have them.
That's a nice thing about the games. Later in spring training, you want to stretch your players out. You want to get them 4 or 5 at bats in a ball game. You want to make sure they can stay on their feet for 3.5 hours like they'll have to during the regular season. So as camp goes on, you stretch the guys out. They play more and more innings, and you don't have to worry about who number 93 is.
Well, you might notice Torres is batting right-handed against a right-handed pitcher. But usually switch hitters will bat righty against a knuckleballer. Why is that?
Well, I think more than anything else, the idea with the knuckleballer is to stay back on the ball and let it travel and make sure that it makes that last movement before you start your swing. And I think perhaps Torres just feels better with a quick swing from the right side of the plate, and he doesn't want to get messed up from the left side of the plate. You saw that happen too a lot with pitchers that threw a screwball. John Franco, the great closer for years and years and years, threw that screwball, and sometimes switch hitters would go up there and face him from the left side of the plate because it took that screwball away from him.
Pitch hitter Micah Hoffpower looks at ball 1. .66 miles an hour. uniforms have changed. The last 2 years, the Cubs took the names off the back, more old school, but they have now returned. That'll get down for Hoff power, and it'll be extra bases. Rob Makoviak now playing right will get it, and Hoff power with a 2-out double.
I don't know how you feel about it, Len, but personally, I like the names on the back of the jersey. That was one of the big thrills as a minor league ball player when you get to the big leagues and walk into that clubhouse the first day and see that neat, clean uniform with your name on the back of it. That was always one of the highlights of getting called up to the big leagues.
Soriano's 2 for 2, a double and a single. There aren't a lot of roster spots to be had on paper here in camp. One spot in the rotation. You have Mark Pryor again starting tomorrow. Wade Miller made his debut yesterday. Neil Kotz could possibly fill that Glendon Rush role. Swing guy, could start if you need him to. Could be that third lefty in the bullpen. Neil Kotz, who lives in Chicago in the offseason, acquired for David Artsma, who is with the White Sox today, so we could see him. And Hoffpower will move to third as that ball got away from Gonzalez. Pass balls with a knuckleballer are not the same as pass balls with other guys.
No, unfortunately, when you're a knuckleball catcher, you're going to have your share of pass balls. Just the erratic movement of that pitch. The pitcher's not quite sure where it's going to go. Certainly the catcher and the hitter don't know where it's going to go. And that time Gonzalez just let that ball tick off the webbing of his glove and go all the way to the backstop. There's a real art to being a good knuckleball catcher. One of the best I ever saw was Bruce Benedict in the days with the Atlanta Braves catching Phil Niekro. He just had that ability to wait and wait and wait until that ball was just right in front of him and then would snatch it out of midair.
Well, that very issue forced the Red Sox to make a trade that they might have regretted later, because Josh Bard had all kinds of trouble last year catching Tim Wakefield's knuckleball, and Theo Epstein traded Clay Meredith, a short reliever, and Bard to San Diego, and they reacquired Doug Mirabelli. Well, Meredith and Bard had great years for the Padres. This is going to send Makoviak back, spinning, turning, and he can't get it. Soriano 3 for 3. Knocks in a run. And what a WGN Cubs debut for Soriano. He went into the game 0 for 5, and he has 3 hits on the afternoon.
I think the most encouraging sign is 2 of the 3 hits have come to the opposite field, 1 to straightaway center. That's a good sign early in camp that he's really staying on the ball. That pitch is probably off the plate away, but Soriano, standing right on top of the inside corner of that plate, is able to cover that pitch and drive it to the opposite field over the head of Rob Makoviak.
And it is the first run that hasn't come on a home run for either team.
Now, Matt Murray hitting in the 2 spot in the lineup today. For me personally, I think Matt is very well suited to be a number 2 hitter. Perhaps not the prototypical speed you'd like to see at the top of the order, but a guy who will take a lot of pitches. Very adept at hitting the ball to the opposite field. Mark DeRosa, another guy that could possibly fill that role as the season goes on. Cesar Astura's name has been mentioned as a possible number 2 hitter. I think he'll probably stay down at the bottom of the order somewhere for the most part. But with a base stealer at the top of your order, it's imperative that the number 2 and number 3 hitters aren't afraid to hit with 2 strikes, because you want to give Soriano an opportunity to pick a pitch to steal on, and consequently sometimes you'll find yourself behind in the count.
A 3-0 knuckleball strike. White Sox have 1 slot open in their rotation. That's the 5th spot as Merton walks for the 2nd time. And Don Cooper, their pitching coach, is going to head out, chat with Hager. And back to the Cubs in a 1 spot in the rotation. maybe the last spot or two on the bench. That's really about it as far as the roster spots that are open. The number 2 hitter question that you mentioned. Will Soriano be the opening day center fielder as opposed to a corner spot? And then the Wood and Pryor questions.
Well, certainly a lot fewer questions than the Cubs have had in years past at this time of season.
Inside.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you're worried about who your number 5 starter and who's going to hit second, those are problems that can fairly well be solved, either in-house or as spring training progresses and teams start to set their roster. Guys fall by the wayside, get put on waivers, maybe try to send them back to the minor leagues or whatever the case may be. There will be certain players available as we get down to the end of camp, and if there's a good fit there, possibly some of those holes you mentioned could be filled from inside or outside the organization.
Well, you talk so much about having a strong bench, and Lou Piniella has discussed giving his regulars more time off with all the day games at Wrigley. Darrell Ward, one of the great pinch hitters in the game, had a terrific year coming off the bench with Washington in Atlanta last year. He'll be the Cubs' primary pinch hitter, left-handed swinger. We know about Henry Blanco. I wouldn't say Ryan Theriot has a guaranteed spot on the roster, but pretty good chance considering how he finished last year, and he's pretty versatile. They do get the out at second base. The Cubs add 1, but they trail 6-2 to the 6th.
Lizzie McGuire celebrates life as a teenager, where anything and everything could go wrong. But with the help of her family and friends, everything will be all right.
Yeah, right.
It's where school, cool, and exciting adventures are just around the corner.
1 out of 3 isn't so bad.
Get inside her head. Lizzie McGuire. Weekday afternoons on Superstation WGN.
High gas prices stopping you in your tracks? Fly, don't drive. With Southwest Airlines Internet specials, you can fly nonstop from Chicago Midway to all these cities in the Midwest for just $49 one way.
You are now free to move about the country.
It's ready.
Introducing Gillette Fusion Hydrogel. Fusion's hydrating emollients and lubricants form an invisible layer that protects your skin from the first stroke to the last, adding more comfort to your shave. Gillette Fusion Hydrogel.
Because Geico sounds like gecko. That's it. That's the only reason I'm here. The fact is, if Geico sounded like some other animal, like, I don't know, a puma, sure enough, there'd be some adorable little cat sitting here talking about Geico's low rates.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You can't even imagine the pressure. I mean, I've literally got like 2 seconds to capture your attention while simultaneously informing you that you could save hundreds on car insurance by switching to Geico. Quite frankly, I don't think it's even possible.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I couldn't sleep at all last night.
For the rest you can't get Unisom. Unisom is clinically proven to get you to sleep faster and ease you into your healthy sleep cycle to naturally restore you. Unisom, for sleep that restores.
Hey, Len, our long-awaited first podcast of the 07 season will be available for viewing and downloading tomorrow. Go to WGNTV.com and click on the Len and Bob's podcast link. I wonder how our studio is going down here in Arizona. It was a shock to me. I mean, with all the money we're spending to build the podcast studio there in Chicago, that WGN decided to build a satellite studio down here in spring training for our podcast.
Well, we appreciate the effort, and we will take full advantage of it. I've been by the one in Chicago. It's doing just fine. Got to even out the banner, but light taking care of us. We appreciate it. Floor a little uneven, but hey, they had to put it together very quickly. Left-hander Scott Air, a former member of the White Sox, we're getting an inning of work. Cubs trail 6-2. Scott wanted us to say hi to Caleb and Jacob Air. watching back home in Florida today.
Yeah, Scott was telling me before the ball game today, one of the things he has to be careful of pitching early in spring is not to tell the hitter what pitch is coming. Of course, for the last 10 days or so, the pitchers have been throwing live batting practice to their own teams, and when you do that, you stand out on the mound and you let the hitter know what's coming. You don't want the guy to duck into a fastball if he thinks a breaking ball is coming. So the pitcher will stand out on the mound and indicate to the hitter what pitch is coming next. And he said in the past he caught himself out there on the mound his first spring training outing, just signaling to the catcher what pitch he wanted to throw. Well, that's not a good thing to do, and it appears he's remedied that.
He's working with Coy Hill, who's now catching. Soriano is out. Chris Walker is in at center. Balloon Day here in the Phoenix area. Fields running, and Makoviak hits it foul near the plate. So weather-wise, here we should be all right. It looks like it's going to warm up and continue to get nicer and nicer. And once you hit like 82 3 days in a row, we're good, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, people that haven't been to Arizona, even when it reaches the mid-70s in the daytime, when the players take the field early in the morning, there's still quite a nip in the air. It's very chilly, a lot of dew on the ground. Kovac trying to bunt against the left-hander Scott Air to find a way on base after a hit-and-run attempt on the first pitch. But yeah, you have to be careful those early morning workouts. Make sure guys are good and loose and keep your legs underneath you. The grass is a little slippery and temperatures are usually down in the 40s, which talking to people back in Chicago right now, I'm sure they would take that in a second. But the air down here in the desert's a little different than the air you experience around the lake.
Big leg kick, 0-2. Drifts outside. Gonzalez on deck. Well, they're ready for the Chicago weather. Swing and a miss, and a strikeout. Well, our next telecast of Cubs Sox spring training action on WGN Sports will be Friday, March 16th, 3 o'clock Central Time. Hawk and DJ will bring you another North Side, South Side battle in the desert. And on Saturday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, Bob and I will be back. Cubs Padres from here at Hohokam Park will be on the air at 3 o'clock. Now, it's next weekend that you spring forward. But that's everywhere but here. Hawk Power doesn't quite have enough room, so it gets a little confusing. We have these 2 o'clock Central Time starts, and then it'll be 3 o'clock starts. Why don't they change here? Have we ever figured that out?
I have my own theories about it, but I really don't know why. It's just too much trouble to change your clocks and everything. Set your wristwatch ahead and back and up and down, and just leave it the way it is. Let everybody else change.
Well, we got a nice call from Hawk Harrelson watching today, and he's certainly excited about that broadcast coming up on the 16th from Tucson.
Yeah, for those of you who are looking to make the journey down here to Arizona for some spring training games, it's a tough ticket here at Hohokam Park in Mesa and Scottsdale Stadium and over in Peoria, some of the other ballparks. But if you've got some wheels, it's a short 2-hour drive down the freeway to Tucson, and Tucson Electric Park is just a beautiful facility to watch a baseball game, and you can probably get a ticket.
One and one. Are you offering free rides to Tucson? Runner goes, and throw actually hit the runner. Or are you just making the suggestion that if you were inclined to drive?
Let me tell you something. In my 3.5 years as the manager of the Diamondbacks and a couple years as a broadcaster before that, I drove that freeway so many times my car could find its way by itself. Looked like Coy Hill had trouble finding the handle on that throw. Just spikes the ball in the grass behind the pitcher's mound. Fortunately for the Cubs, it doesn't get too far away. The runner has to hold at second base.
offering to Gonzalez. Foul tipped into the glove, and that's a strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Scott Air.
Scott Air using all his pitches today as well. He said there have been springs in the past where he didn't feel he had his good breaking ball till the last week of camp, but said he had a real good feel for it early in camp this year, and strikes out Gonzalez there with a good slider down and in.
Junior Spivey, check swing, and it's foul. Hey, I was interrupted earlier. One of the rules changes, and there are a bunch of them. No ties. Occasionally, a team will play 163 games. If you played 5 full innings, it technically was a complete game. And if you had rain or suspended because of darkness, if it was 6-6 after 7, it would be technically a tie. The stats would count. They would replay the game later. Well, they have essentially gotten rid of those in the regular season. Here's a throw to third, right on the money. Got him. Corey Hill throws out Josh Fields to end the inning. 6-2 White Sox.
Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you by Pepsi. Your world, your Pepsi.
Who's counting on your breaks today? Your brakes are too important to trust to just anyone. That's why you should come to Midas now. At Midas, brake pads or shoes are just $89.95 per axle installed. Be safe.
Just the Midas touch.
Leonardo, I'm sensing a great threat. We need to be a family once again.
On March 23rd.
Within hours, we'll lose the city to monsters.
I have to disagree with you on that one.
4 brothers will unite as one. Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo.
Yeah!
TMNT.
Got any moves left? Just this one.
Rated PG in theaters March 23rd.
I had a man who loved me and a man who wanted to leave his wife for me.
I'm going to tell her tonight.
What? Sex in the City.
Tonight at 11 Eastern on Superstation WGN.
Experience Cubs baseball from the private comfort of the Batter's Eye Lounge in center field. The Batter's Eye Lounge offers a spectacular view and catered service for groups of 75 to 100 people. The Batter's Eye is also available for non-game day functions. To book your date or for more info, 773-404-CUBS or visit Cubs.com. All right, so the bottom line is no ties. You play it like a suspended game. If it's 6-6 after 7 and rain stops it, you come back the next day and you finish, which I think is a good rule.
When you said no ties, I thought they were eliminating dress codes around Major League Baseball.
You wouldn't mind that.
Something I would be highly in favor of.
Yeah.
But, I think that's a good rule change.
What is it now? An automatic 10-game suspension for a player who has scuffed the baseball.
Cheaters. It's an automatic 10-game suspension if you're caught.
If you're caught, right.
Scuffing the baseball.
Is that right? Pitchers are now allowed to wear multicolored gloves so long as the glove is not, in the judgment of the umpire, distracting. So the official rules changes. Defacing the baseball, that would be a player who intentionally defaces the baseball will get an automatic 10-game suspension. So in my opinion, Paul Konerko should get suspended because there's no way that ball that was hit out into the parking lot was not defaced. Right?
Flat on one side.
And he intentionally did it.
Yes, he did. So pitchers that so choose to deface the ball just need to find a way to do it accidentally now. As long as it's not intentional.
John Danks. Southpaw is on. Ramirez just over the glove of Fields into left. I got to ask you, was that dirt on Kenny Rogers' left hand? What do you think?
There may have been some dirt there, but the reason the dirt was sticking to that particular spot, in my humble opinion, was he had some stickum or pine tar or something on there.
I think what kind of gave it away is that they had video of other performances in the postseason where the dirt just so happened to be in the exact same location.
It must have been one of the exercises that he does to get loose before the game that causes that dirt to be at that same spot every time he pitches.
Well, he might have gotten in the heads of the opposing hitters, because even after he wiped the dirt off, he still dealt. Pinch runner for Ramirez is the Riot. So Ryan Terrio in the ballgame as a pinch runner. And congratulations to Ryan and his wife, Jonna. She gave birth to a baby girl named Macy Marie just after spring training started. Their second child, son Houston.
And for a guy like Ryan Terrio trying to make this club as a utility player off the bench, get some spot starts here and there, you look forward to every opportunity to getting on that field.
That'll be caught.
I mean, whether it's a pinch run appearance, a pinch hit, an opportunity to come in and play defense late in the ball game, I'm sure he'll get some starts down here in the Cactus League and get an opportunity to get 2 or 3 or 4 at bats in a ball game. But when you're trying to make the ball club, every chance you get to go out there on that field and make something happen, you have to try to take advantage of it.
Well, congratulations to our colleague Dave Turner and his wife Nancy. They just had twins, Jasmine and Zoe Turner.
All right.
Congrats to Bulldog.
Come on, John.
Might be one of the nicest people we've ever met in the business. I hope he gets enough sleep.
Yeah, we were talking about career-altering moments with Rich Hill last year. You want to talk about a life-altering moment? Yeah, having 2 beautiful little girls to take care of.
One pitch. DeRosa turns on it. Nice diving stop by Fields, and the out is recorded at second. On a dandy defensive play by Josh Fields at third base. Stole away a single, and DeRosa ends up with a fielder's choice. That was Joe Creedy-like.
DeRosa making a bid for an extra base hit down that third baseline is denied. Nice diving stop. Very close at second base, but as you might expect in a spring training game, the ties are going to go away of the out.
Yeah, speaking of ties, a bit of a controversy in a game we did last year involving these 2 teams. The White Sox ran out of pitchers, and the Ho-Ho-Com crowd was not too pleased when the game was called after 9, a tie. So Ozzie, I think, brought about 26 extra pitchers today just in case.
Hey, it happens.
The Cubs are cornering the market on Hills. They have Rich Hill in their starting rotation, Coy Hill, who is at the plate, a catcher, and Bobby Hill, former Cub, is back in the organization. Just got a piece of it. Coy Hill is a switch hitter. Big league time with the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Swung on and missed. inning over after the leadoff single, no runs.
Weeknights at 11:30 Eastern.
Yuri, tomorrow we go home. Celebrate?
So, I'm here with George, and let me ask you this. Was it heavy lifting that beam?
Oh, yeah. It hurts sometimes.
I bet, man. It seems to be our lower back that ends up having all the pain. Do you ever just get stuck?
Oh, yeah. Been there a number of times.
So what do you do when you get stuck?
I take a bear and unstick it.
Upright is good.
Upright is very good.
Bear aspirin. Painkiller? Lifesaver. Bear aspirin. Expect wonders.
Expect wonders.
Wait a minute, that's my line.
Behold, the power of Phantom. Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Fusion Power is so advanced you barely feel the blades. Shaving can create uncomfortable friction. Turn on Fusion Power. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction and increase razor glide. You'll barely feel the blades. You'll really feel the difference. The comfort of 5 blades plus the precision of 1. Fusion Power Phantom. Gillette, the best a man can get.
6-2 White Sox. We get into the 7th inning, and great to have with us in the booth Cubs general manager Jim Hendry. Jim, great offseason for the Cubs, and first of all, how are you feeling health-wise?
I'm feeling terrific. Yeah, feeling terrific. I've been feeling good for a long time. So obviously I got a little scare that I wouldn't want to go through again, but I've been feeling really a lot better lately, and you know, on my way to good conditioning, I think.
Well, that's great to hear, and it must be nice for you to see this team in uniform now playing against other teams.
Yeah, it's been a really good camp. Obviously, we haven't, you know, played terrific the first couple games, but a lot of the runs that were given up are being given up by guys that probably won't make the ball club. So it's been a well-run camp by Lou. Everybody's feeling real excited about everything, and it's gone well.
Junior Spivey deep into left center field, and Chris Walker will get it. It is a leadoff 2-base hit for Spivey. You have a new assistant general manager, Randy Bush, who was already in the organization. Tell us about Randy and some of the things that he'll be doing.
Yeah, well, Randy's a terrific addition to the front office. He's been with us the last couple of years doing a lot of major league scouting and evaluating our minor league system, and of course has a 11-year career under his belt and 2 World Series with the Twins. And I've known Randy since 1978, and he'll bring a lot to the table. He's going to continue to grow in the evaluation process. He'll still do some major league scouting for us, and he'll make a swing through our entire system once the first half and once the second. But he'll be helping me on a daily basis too, and he'll be making some of the road trips that I can use better time now and going into the system myself. So thrilled to have him. First class guy. Got a bright future in the game, and certainly a future general manager.
Pitcher is Jason Anderson.
Now, Jim, we were talking earlier about Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood both throwing in the ball game tomorrow over in Peoria. What kind of expectations, or what do you expect to see from those guys?
Well, I think I expect to see some good things. I saw Kerry throw the other day, and it was absolutely terrific. Hopefully, you know, somewhere middle to late in camp, we'll be getting him going back-to-back days. But he feels great. His velocity was very good the other day, and Mark's work the other day down the street at Fitch Park that I saw to live batting practice was pretty good, pretty crisp, and he's going to go out and take his turn tomorrow. The good news is that neither one of them have missed any of their work, any of their regular turn that they would have taken with the rest of the pitchers. So hopefully that Mark will have a good month here and get himself right back in the rotation, where we hope he can really deliver a big season for us.
Molino thrown out by Ryan Terrio. Carlos Zambrano signed for 2007. And I know Cub fans want to know, when's he going to be signed to that long-term deal? I mean, what can you tell us?
Well, you know, nothing really, you know, to speak of today. But I mean, we'll certainly sit down with Carlos's people here in the next couple of weeks. We have a very good history of keeping our, you know, guys that are going to be free agents, or 5+ players. keeping them and getting a lot of them signed before opening day. So we'll certainly give our best effort to make Carlos a Cub for a long time, and then hopefully we'll be able to work something out. If we don't by opening day, then I think both sides have agreed that we'll table it till the postseason discussion.
Well, Jim, a new manager in Peoria this year, Ryan Sandberg, going to get back on the field in uniform as the manager of the Cubs A-ball club. That has to be exciting.
Oh, it's tremendous. I mean, Rhino, for him to come back and want to do this, I think it speaks volumes that he wants to have a second career. And he's been down there working with our kids in the mini camp and been real enthusiastic all winter about doing it. So I think it's going to be great for the Cubs. Obviously be great for the city of Peoria and Pete Van Auken's group down there. And I think he'll add a lot to the young kids on the way up. So I'm thrilled to have him back.
How important was Lou in the recruiting of guys like Alfonso Soriano and some of the free agents you signed? Well,
he was really very important in the Soriano situation. We went down to see Soriano at a hotel at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples during the general managers meetings, and I really didn't know what kind of shot we had to get him. He was obviously the best free agent on the market. And when that season started, the free agent season started, I didn't know if we were in his first tier or second tier or not have a chance. But I knew one thing when we left the hotel that day, after about 2 or 3 hours, that I could tell that he and Lou clicked. And I knew when we got in the car to go back to our hotel that we might not get him for sure, but we had a fighting chance. And I give Lou a lot of credit with that. They meshed right away, and I could tell there was a connection. And obviously it worked out a couple days later in our behalf.
That's a strike. 7-2 the White Sox with a run here in the inning. Jim Hendry, Cubs general manager, is with us. And to me, you got the free agent period started off in great fashion by signing or re-signing Aramis Ramirez. I mean, that was a big one that people may not talk about, right. But really you ended up signing maybe 2 of the top 3 or 4 free agents in Ramirez and Soriano.
Well, you're right. It was huge. And when we got it done, I don't think we realized that, number one, it turned out to be a pretty good deal compared to where the industry went after that. And more importantly, I think if we hadn't re-signed Aramis, I think Soriano's interest might have been a little less. He was very excited about Ramirez coming back and Derek Lee coming back healthy. So you're right, it really got us off to a good start. He arguably, with Carlos Lee and Soriano, they were the best free agent position players on the market.
And you finally signed Cliff Floyd.
Yeah, well, I think
16 years later.
Yeah, I think Cliff's going to be a good addition. He's swinging the bat real well in camp. Probably be another week or so before we get him in a ball game. But I think he gives us a great presence from the left side to hit behind Lee and Ramirez when he's in there. And it's certainly, Matt's going to get his quality time and not hurt his development at all. But I thought he was a perfect combination from the left side late in the winter, what we needed to add.
Yeah, briefly, when you coached at Creighton, you had a letter of intent with Cliff, but he ended up signing with Montreal. Jim, thanks for the time, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Good to see you guys again. Take care.
Behold the power of Phantom. Gillette Fusion Power Phantom. Fusion Power is so advanced you barely feel the blades. Shaving can create uncomfortable friction. Turn on Fusion Power. Soothing micropulses help you reduce friction and increase razor glide. You'll barely feel the blades. You'll really feel the difference. The comfort of 5 blades, plus the precision of 1. Fusion Power Phantom. Gillette, the best a man can get.
When your in-home disasters become America's biggest laughter, we've got it all caught on tape. Every weeknight, you get all the hilarious moments of AFE. Even when things go extremely wrong, laughter makes it oh so right. It's the cranks, pranks, and all-out stupid maneuvers that make Monday nights a splash. Join Tom Bergeron as he brings you the ultimate in reality television.
Common sense is the enemy of comedy. My new motto, stop thinking, start taping.
It's a knockdown, flipped around good time. So when life gets a little crazy, remember to take some time to laugh. America's funniest home videos. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on Superstation WGN. It's great to be home.
Well, what we call a funky lefty, Clay Rapata, who's was looking for a much better result this time out a couple of days ago against the Angels. 2/3 of an inning, 5 hits, 5 runs. Runner at first, 2 in, 8-2 White Sox. Casey Rogowski fouls away.
And with that funky delivery, Rapata's had some real good success at the minor league level. In 179 games pitched in the minor leagues, his ERA is 2.79. Very sparkling. Averages about a strikeout per inning. Gives up well less than a hit an inning. And a lot of it is due to that funky delivery.
Slings it up there and just missed. Slings it over to first. You may wonder, well, why wouldn't he go more overhand? Well, if you pitch that way, you might as well throw it to first that way.
Whatever you can command the best, and apparently because his delivery is a sidearm delivery, he feels more comfortable throwing over to first base with the same delivery he features to home plate. A left-hander with a deceptive delivery like Rapata's, if he can consistently throw strikes, there is a place for him in the major leagues. Left-handed pitchers that throw strikes with a little bit of deception in their delivery tend to have long careers. Key is throwing strikes.
The Cubs' earned run average in the first 3 games, 5.14. Foul tip. And a strikeout for Rapata. 2 down in the inning. And it'll be Jerry Owens. But again, earned run averages here a little bit deceptive. I don't think he's going to have to worry about rain for a while.
It's funny how different players, depending on your status and your experience with the ball club, how you view spring training. We talked about this last year. One of my former teammates, Rick Russell, a former Cub, his ERA in spring training was always in double digits. 10 point something, 11 point something, 12 point something. But you knew once the season started exactly what you were going to get from Rick Russell. Now, if you're a non-roster pitcher in camp trying to make a team and make an impression, you cannot afford to carry those kind of numbers through spring training. So depending on your status with the ball club, those numbers either are highly important or not important at all.
Well, I know one thing. We maybe mention the spring training numbers on opening day, the first time a guy comes up, and then we probably don't mention them ever again. Because they really don't matter at that point. Not a lot of bonus clauses for Cactus League MVP. Mike Kincaid with a nice catch on that liner by Owens. Stretch time, 8-2.
Do you have a dinosaur?
No.
Do you have the space shuttle?
No.
What do you have?
Well, we have a display of the local gopher in his natural habitat.
That's not a gopher.
Yeah, it is.
Take them to a place that has it all. Fly one of Southwest Airlines' 15 daily nonstops from Chicago Midway to Baltimore, Washington, or Washington Dulles International for just $59 one way. Purchased by May 17th.
You are now free to move about the country.
I couldn't sleep at all last night.
For the rest you can't get Unisom. Unisom is clinically proven to get you to sleep faster and ease you into your healthy sleep cycle to naturally restore you. Unisom, for sleep that restores.
A real guy with real relationship advice.
He's just not that into you.
The Greg Barron Show.
From day one, I've been a huge fan. He just gives you the honest truth.
Real problems.
You don't love yourself. You don't get anything good.
Real solutions.
We don't talk about the problem and then solve it later. We solve it today.
Critics say Greg's sensible and heartfelt. Refreshing. The New York Times says The Greg Barron Show works.
My life changed from being on his show.
Greg Barron.
I love you because I was you.
Very relatable.
Weekdays at 2 on Superstation WGN.
Time now for our Bud Light fan camp from Mesa, Chicago's very own, the Handcuffs. shine on by the handcuffs. Perfect way to kick off another season of our Bud Light Fan Cam. Bottom 7. And a new Hohokam record crowd of 12,903. Toughest ticket in the Valley, I would think, today. Sox and Cubs. They're one of the young White Sox prospects will now pitch. Gio Gonzalez, as this crowd looks on. 8-2 White Sox.
I get the feeling that probably 99% of the people in this crowd today have had their tickets for this game for a long time.
Yep.
Not a big walk-up. I think it was sold out well in advance.
The second annual Race to Wrigley 5K run Saturday, March 31st at 8 a.m. Race begins at Clark and Addison, continues through the Wrigleyville neighborhood, finishes with a run down the Wrigley Field concourse and under the famous Wrigley Field marquee. Pre-registration is $30 and day of race registration $35. Each participant receives a Race to Wrigley t-shirt. The top 3 fundraisers receive an autographed Cubs jersey. Proceeds benefit Chicago Cubs charities. To register, call 773-868-3010. Bob Vorwald, our executive producer, ran the Race to Wrigley last year.
And certainly we would both participate if we were in town. But
no doubt.
We're going to be in Vegas.
And we'll be working out, running, and broadcasting baseball. Ronnie Cedeno had a tough year last year. And it'll be interesting to see if he can make this 25-man roster as a bench player. Hit hard on the ground, foul.
You know, Len, we talked in the open briefly about Lou Piniella and his experience or his knowledge of some of his own players that he was kind of learning on the fly, and you ask if that was a benefit. I think Ronnie Cedeno is a guy who's going to get a real good look this spring. He's leading the team in at bats already through the first 3 ball games plus today. And I think we're going to see Ronnie into a lot of ball games that he doesn't start, coming in there in the 4th or 5th or 6th inning to get a few at bats, to really give Lou a good look at Ronnie Cedeno and determine where he fits in with this ball club.
Well, former Cub Ivan De Jesus. I mean, that just fits, right? Former Cub player, and he is a special assistant to Lou Piniella. He is coaching first base. Matt Sinatro is the Cubs first base coach, but Matt had off-season surgery and will be manning first here over the course of the next few days. But great to see Ivan back in a Cub uniform. And he'll also assist Alan Trammell on infield instruction, and will work with the pitchers on bunting, hitting, and base running. 15 years. Former shortstop. Led the National League in runs in 1978 with 104, and he stole 194 bases in his career.
A funny story about Ivan De Jesus. He came to the Giants briefly at the end of his career in 1987. He played in 9 ball games. But the thing that really stands out is we're playing in San Diego at old Qualcomm/Jack Murphy Stadium, and we had gone out to take batting practice on the field, and Ivan was out there with the rest of the team, took his batting practice, and at the end of his hitting group, he went in the dugout and went around the corner toward the clubhouse, and that's the last time I saw him. He apparently walked up into the locker room, was told he had been released, and off he went, and we never saw him again. We came in after batting practice and thought he'd been kidnapped, but indeed he moved along, ended up finishing up his career with the Detroit Tigers in 1988, played in 7 ball games with them, but boy, quite a disappearing act. One minute he was on the field hitting, and the next minute he was gone.
Wow. Tough game. Pitch fouled back. Gio Gonzalez has been involved in a couple of deals between the White Sox and the Phillies. Sent to the Phillies and then brought back. And that's a called third strike. Now we're looking forward to being back at Wrigley, of course. The new brick pavers will adorn the sidewalks on Sheffield and Waveland and parts of Addison. And some will include messages from fans who purchased them online at the end of last season. The scoreboard got a new paint job. You have a lot of bobblehead days coming up this year, starting on April 15th. Lou Piniella, bobblehead day. Alfonso Soriano, Michael Barrett, Big Z, Aramis Ramirez, Derek Lee will all have bobblehead days in their honor. Washburn Guitar Day, the first ever such day at Wrigley. Washburn will provide fans with 100 custom, one-of-a-kind Cubs branded guitars.
That's on July 17th. You don't want to miss that one.
Swing and a miss by Chris Walker.
And Mark Brady will be excited to know that August 5th is American Girl Cubs Apparel Day, so he'll be able to get a new outfit for his American Girl doll.
One-two pitch is a ground ball hit to short. Bolito, a nice backhanded flip. Can't get the double play. Chris Walker runs very, very well.
Boy, and he needed to beat that one out. That was a great play up the middle by Bolito. Actually flipped that ball backwards to second base, almost a no-look flip to get the force play at second base. Range as far to his left up the middle. And only the speed of Walker prevented that from being a double play.
I said he runs well. Twice has stolen 60 bases in the minor leagues. Last year had 50. 170 steals the last 3 years combined. Gio Gonzalez was sent to the Phillies in the Jim Thome deal in November of 05 and was brought back to the White Sox in the Freddie Garcia trade in December of 06. Lazily in the air to center, and it's caught out there by Brian Anderson. 8th inning on the way. 8-2 White Sox.
Lizzie McGuire celebrates life as a teenager, where anything and everything could go wrong. But with the help of her family and friends, everything will be all right.
Yeah, right.
It's where school, cool, and exciting adventures are just around the corner.
1 out of 3 isn't so bad.
Get inside her head. Lizzie McGuire. Weekday afternoons on Superstation WGN.
Just because I got Bud on the car doesn't mean I got Bud in the car.
Oh, terribly sorry, boy.
See you later, crazy mutant desert guys.
One morning, you wake up, and there it is. Gray hair. And you wonder, will people see me for who I really am? How do you break out of that?
Just for Men stops gray from hiding who you are with 5-minute target gray technology. Easy.
Today's a whole new ball game, and then you wonder, why did I ever put up with gray hair?
Let the real you come through. Stay in the game with Just for Men.
This is really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check outside.
Oh, this hotel sure is peaceful.
Wow.
Don't book the right room in the wrong place. Send in the experts at Hotels.com. With their advanced mapping technology, finding the perfect hotel in the perfect location is now easier than ever. So log on or call now. Hold the door. Hotels.com. We know hotels inside and out.
Chicago Cubs Spring Training Baseball on WGN Sports is brought to you by refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Well, the Cubs get their first win of Cactus League play today. They're going to have to make a big comeback in the last 2 innings, because right now they're down 6. And left-hander Will Ullman will pitch here in the 8th inning. Hill, Mateo, Webb, Ayer, Anderson, Rapata, and Ullman. waivers for Ullman last year. Apparently, he does not have triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13.
It seems like that number 13 is usually worn by a left-handed pitcher for whatever reason. But Will Ullman switching to the number 13 this year.
There's the reverse, the 31 of Greg Maddux. Two on Fields, who's 0 for 2 with a walk, a stolen base, and was caught stealing in the 6th inning. Nice to see Don and his wife Sharon Zaminda. Don, of course, with Stats Inc. Do a great job, and they were in town for the weekend. 1 down here in the 8th.
Speaking of Greg Maddux, over there in camp with the San Diego Padres this spring over in Peoria, Arizona. One of his new teammates, David Wells, set an all-time record for the largest jersey in the big leagues. Size 58.
58?
Most of the players you see on the field right now probably wear a 42, 44, maybe a 46 or a 48. David Wells wearing a size 58 uniform top this year. He's listed at 6'3", 248. Talk about a work of fiction.
58.
58. Go get a boomer.
All right, now Ozzie having a little fun here. Wiki Gonzalez batting in this spot, and it is Gonzalez at the plate, but it's not Wiki, it is Andy. See, we're in midseason form. We caught it.
You caught it.
I don't even have to write in Gonzalez on my score sheet. I'll just leave it.
Ditto. Okay, we talked about the names on the back of the Cubs jerseys again this year. I'm sure that helps Lou Piniella and his staff a little bit. They came into this camp not really familiar with a lot of these players, at least by sight. Certainly they recognize them from their stats and where they played last year, but to actually recognize a guy by his face is probably a little tough early in camp. So I'm sure Lou and his staff were glad that the names were back on the jerseys.
New batting practice tops. Cubs going with the Cub blue, no longer with the navy blue batting practice tops. Have you gotten your hands on the new synthetic caps?
Not yet.
No longer wool caps.
Well, times change. Apparently this new material is better suited for the purpose. Wicks away sweat. You don't, hopefully won't see those big sweat stains on the pitcher's hats anymore.
Yeah, the days of the perspiration literally dripping off the bill of the cap, that won't happen anymore. You see, the top of the cap will capture all the sweat and it'll all evaporate. That's what the goal is.
But then the humidity will go up then, right? Because then there's more moisture in the air. Oh, man.
Three balls, 2 strikes.
You almost need to file an environmental impact statement if you're going to change hats like that.
Yeah.
Cause the humidity to go up, more rain.
Check swing, and he went around.
Well, a little slider of his own there for a called third strike. Started it just off the outside corner. Gets the check swing. You know, we talk about results in spring training and how they're not really that important. Nobody remembers who was the winningest pitcher in the Cactus League last year or who led the Cactus League in home runs. But for each individual to go out there and accomplish what it is they need to do before opening day, it is very important in that respect. Will Ullman coming in here executing some good pitches against tough right-handed hitting.
facing Luis Torrero. I guess the only people or group that might be upset or happy, I should say, about the cap exchange are the sheep. That hit Torrero. 2 men on.
Well, Luis Torrero, a very intriguing ball player. We had him with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he was one of those can't-miss prospects. 5-tool player, runs like the wind, tremendous throwing arm. Had some off-field problems from time to time that kept him from being as good as he possibly could, but more than anything else, it was just a matter of consistency. That's the biggest difference you see with good major league players and guys who are struggling to be good. Luis just couldn't seem to put together good at-bats for any consistent period of time, but definitely all the potential in the world right there in that young man.
There are some outfield issues to be sorted out for the White Sox. Scott Posednik had a surgery to repair a sports hernia in January. Darren Erstad is with the club, but he's coming off ankle surgery. Brian Anderson, very solid defensively, but scuffled big time offensively last year. They know they're okay in right. They're more than okay. One of the best right fielders in the game, Jermaine Dye. And most of their newcomers will likely be young pitchers. They made the Garcia deal with the Phillies and sent Brandon McCarthy to Texas.
You mentioned Brian Anderson's struggles at the plate. It's amazing how you can cover up a guy like that when you've got 7 players in your lineup that could go deep with one swing of the bat. You can afford to carry a player at a key defensive position like center field just for his glove, and anything you get with the bat is a bonus.
1-2 and 2 on, fouled away.
That's one way the game has changed considerably. I think back to my youth growing up watching Major League Baseball, and the second baseman and shortstop were rarely offensive players. They were usually guys that could make all the plays defensively, turn the double plays, and if they hit anything at all, it was a bonus. And certainly that's not the case anymore. Come on up. Major league clubs are looking for offense from every position. That guy stole my costume.
Getting ready for 70s night. July 31st.
It needs to be a red wig if he's going to wear a Merton jersey.
Yeah. Driven in the air deep to left. It sounded like a home run, and it looks like 1-2. Gustavo Molina with a 3-run jack, and it's 11-2. Five dingers for the White Sox.
And you called it right off the bat, Len. It sounded like a home run. Ooh. Pitch was out over the plate a little bit and down, and was hooked back to left field for another 3-run homer. The second 3-run homer in this ball game for the White Sox.
The aforementioned Brian Anderson. Sox GM Ken Williams has some decisions to make. He's pretty happy about what he's seen, certainly offensively, from his club today. Popped up by Anderson. I'm going to say he has some decisions to make, although it doesn't look like they're going to re-sign Mark Burley. Jermaine Dye, we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares even farther. Visit southwest.com.
The weather was so much better yesterday.
A bad day in Florida beats a good day almost anywhere else. With over 40 daily flights from Chicago Midway to the Sunshine State, Southwest Airlines is taking low fares farther.
You are now free to move about the country.
Why would you want an ED tablet that works up to 36 hours? Because life is full of interruptions. That's all right. You have up to 36 hours with Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to work up to 36 hours. 36 hours to relax and enjoy yourselves, knowing you can still be ready when the moment is eventually right. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. Go ahead, take your time. 36-hour Cialis. When the moment is right, will you be ready?
It's America's favorite teen queen, Lizzie McGuire. Weekday afternoons, only on Superstation WGN.
Hoop fans, the Bulls are on the U, WCIU Channel 26 today at 5 o'clock Central Time. So after we're done here in Mesa, you can click on over to WCIU, catch the Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now that's a great sports day. Former Cub David Artsma involved in that Neil Kotz trade. He'll pitch for his new team against his old team. And we liked what we saw from David Artsma late in the year.
It's hard not to like David Artsma when you see him unleash that fastball. Real live arm. The problem with David has always been his command of that strike zone, his ability to get ahead of hitters and then expand the zone. But certainly you have to like the potential in that right arm.
First trade between the two Chicago franchises since the Garland Matt Karchner deal back in '98. We certainly hope this one works out a lot better than that one did for the Cubs. We saw John Garland earlier. 18 wins each of the last 2 seasons. Garland did not give up a run in 3 innings. Bob Howery is up. And the guess here would be we'll see him in the 9th. Buck Coates pops it up. And it's caught in foul ground by Fields. Now Ryan Theriot. Cubs left-hander Les Walren wanted us to wish his mom Mary a happy birthday. Her birthday will be tomorrow. Ed Potempa says hello to friends and family back in Chicago, and also Howard Zolt stopped by the booth, wanted us to say hello to his father. Irving, 92 years old, watching the Cubs today. Irving's grandson Neil with a birthday today, so happy birthday to Neil Zoll.
Some more hellos. Steve Helfand wanted to say hello to his mother and father, Dorothy and Irv, watching back in Chicago. Big time Cub fans. Also a happy birthday to Sid Stern, 69 years old today. I ran into Cub fans in the stands earlier today. This one is hello to Zach and Kelly Klupchak from Mom and Abby. It sounds to me like Mom and Abby got to come to Arizona and Zach and Kelly had to stay back in Homewood. So hello to them.
Angel Pagan on deck. 2-2 heater fouled away. 96 from Artsma. Another 2-2. And on the hands, 3-2.
Jim and Donna want to say hello to Chloe, Carter, Charlie, and everybody in Dwight, Illinois. That pretty much covers it all.
And a base hit. So the riot is on.
You talked to the guys early in spring training. How was your winter? What did you do? You know, did you do anything interesting? And Ryan Theriot had a lot of fun this winter. He had an opportunity to go hunting with David DeLucci. Will Clark, former San Francisco Giant, St. Louis Cardinal, owns a big property down in Mississippi, and Ryan Theriot got to go for a weekend, and I'm not quite sure what they were hunting, but they were shooting at something.
Well, as long as they had the proper permits, they're good to go.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Angel trying to grab one of those reserve outfield spots. Nasty hamstring injury knocked Angel Pagan out of commission for, well, it was over 2 months last year. That was mid-April. Fouled back to the netting.
Yeah, Pagan appears to be healthy this spring. He's got a couple of stolen bases. The Cubs are a perfect 6 for 6 on the spring in stealing bases, something I'm sure Lou Piniella is keeping a very close eye on. Which guys can he turn loose on the bases? Which guys need a little more help on picking a pitch to run on? And Pagan off to a good start on the bases this spring.
Theriot not being held on with the White Sox leading by 9. How does the book, you know, the that's not written, but the book, how does that work in spring training? I mean, what if Lou wants Ryan Theriot to run?
Well, there he goes.
There he goes. That answered the question. It was on a 3-2.
I think a lot of those unwritten rules kind of go by the boards in spring training because exactly what you said. You want to get a look at some of these players. This may be the only opportunity you get to put that guy in this particular situation, and you don't want to let it pass and hope you get another chance to do it again in the future. You have to take advantage of those opportunities.
Base hit to left, and Theriot will stop at second.
It's not unusual to see a manager make a pitching change in the 9th inning with 2 outs and a huge lead in the ballgame just because he wants to see that particular reliever against that particular hitter. Here you'll see Theriot on the move, looking back. You play it like a hit and run when nobody's holding you on over there at first base. It's not a straight steal. And Pagan slashes one the other way right by the third baseman into left field so hard that Theriot can't advance all the way around to third.
Mike Kincaid has some power, patient approach at the plate, and he has always hit for a high average in the minor leagues, well over 300. But sticking with a big league club has been a challenge for him. He is a career .328 minor league hitter. Big league time with the Mets, Orioles, and Dodgers. The Cubs signed him in the offseason to a minor league contract. One of the problems is finding a position for Kincaid defensively. But he can hit. Hey, good to see Lester Strode, longtime minor league pitching coordinator. He was an assistant pitching coach with the Cubs back in the early to mid 90s for a couple of years, and he's now the bullpen coach. That is caught by Rogowski, and he will easily double off Angel Pagan to get Artsma out of the 8th inning. 11-2 for Ozzy's club.
Every time they get close, within arm's reach, just a breath away, Shaq Bauer is always one step ahead. No one can catch him except you. Catch 24 Saturdays at 11:30 Eastern on Superstation WGN.
Yo, I got an idea.
Through the years, many things pass from father to son, like Aqua Velva Aftershave. Smells great, cools, firms, and tones. Cool. Aqua Velva, men get it.
Banana Pudding Shake, new at Sonic. With Nilla wafers and real bananas, it's a frozen twist on a classic dessert. The new Banana Pudding Shake. Pay the Sonic way. Swipe your credit or My Sonic card from your car.
Hi, how are you?
Great. We're treating ourselves tonight.
Oh, anniversary? Birthday? No.
No, it's
Just Monday. Well, Mondays are good.
Olive Garden introduces 2 new Alfredos. New crab Venezia with tender, delicious snow crab in our homemade seafood Alfredo sauce. Or try new grilled steak in portobello with marinated steak and a mushroom Alfredo, both with endless breadsticks and salad.
Don't you just love Mondays?
Mondays are great.
Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Well, Cubs baseball here on WGN Sports is produced by Pete Tallman, our director Skip Ellison, our associate producer Mark Brady, the executive producer of WGN Sports Bob Vorwald, and we'd like to thank our great crew here at Hohokam Park, here bright and early today, getting us ready for another great spring of Cubs baseball on WGN, our 60th year. Thanks as well to our studio coordinator back in Chicago, Joe Pizzo. We are going to have a lot of fun in 07. Bob Howery will try to get the final 3 outs for the Cubs, who trail by 9. Lolito with a 1 hit and 3 official at bats. Scored a run after walking in the 4th. Knee-high strike.
You watch Bob Howery just pound that fastball on the outside corner at the knees, and I really believe a lot of it has to do with his setup out there on the mound. We documented it many times last year. High fly ball lifted to left field, no problem. Howery goes through the same pre-pitch routine every pitch that he throws through spring training and then right into the regular season. And I really believe that mentally that helps him lock in to throw the pitches that he needs to throw to be effective, and it all works with that fastball on the outside corner. He's apparently found something that he feels comfortable doing. Places the ball in the glove, tugs on that little strap there on his thumb.
But he's one guy the Cubs just want to give him the ball with the lead, and unfortunately last year they couldn't do that very often. And Bob, I know there may be a few Cub fans out there who are concerned about where Kerry Wood fits in. Well, you know what? They'll find a spot for him in the bullpen. And again, the Cubs have so much more depth in every area than certainly we've seen the last couple of years. Ryan Dempster pitched well yesterday against Oakland and Phoenix. He's slated for the 9th inning. You have Howery, Air in the 8th. Kerry Wood could pitch the 8th, maybe the 7th. Who knows? That's off the foot of Howery and deflects off the glove of Terrio. Rogowski is on. So a pinball base hit back up the middle.
I think Kerry Wood will determine himself where he's slotted into that bullpen and what kind of situations he finds himself pitching in. Certainly down here in Arizona, at least initially, they're going to ease him in, just get his work in. Ultimately, by the end of spring training, I'm sure they would like to see him go back-to-back days, maybe 3 days out of 4, to see if he's able to handle that kind of workload. But the results that he gets down here in spring training and his ability to bounce back from an outing and do it again the next day, I think will determine where he slots into Lou Piniella's bullpen.
At what point will he be able to go back-to-back days, 3 out of 4, what have you? Outside corner strike. Jerry Owens got an email regarding Eric Patterson, the younger brother of Corey Patterson, Eric, a second baseman and one of the Cubs' top prospects. Hit a home run the other day. Broken bat, base hit. First and third for the White Sox. Eric Patterson, he's going to be a big leaguer at some point. You know, he's only had 2 professional years, but he's hit .299 in the minor leagues. Finished last year hitting .358 in 17 games in AAA. Blocked at the moment by Mark DeRosa here at the big league level. But again, the Cubs are at the point where guys like Patterson, PA, pitching-wise, Guzman, Mateo, they can give these guys extra time in the minor leagues and not have to push them maybe faster than you would like to. And that's the one thing last year is a lot of pitchers were put in a situation where they were probably not quite ready to be at this level, although in the end that experience will probably help them.
In the long run it will definitely help, but certainly it would be more beneficial to those young players that you envision as starters in the future to let them go through their lumps at the minor league level, learn how to play the game the right way, put them in all kinds of situations.
Crushed deep to center field out near that big green monster, and it one-hops a wall. Rogowski is in. Second and third is Josh Fields. Had to hit it a lot farther to get it over that big batter's eye in center, but he did pick up an RBI and an extra base hit, and it's now 12-2. Yeah, you got to hit it over that big wall to get it out.
Well, he makes a bid to go over the batter's eye out there in center field. That fastball caught a little bit too much of the plate for Bob Howery. Normally he works that outside corner or further away. That went straight over the heart of the plate, and as we've said all day long, this time of spring training, misplaced fastballs tend to get hit real hard.
Ryan Sweeney, the batter. Second and third, 1 out. Low and outside. How's your scorecard looking?
It's a mess. I fully expected it to be a mess.
You know, in some ways we're able to kind of ease in, but these are scorecard-wise the most challenging games of the year. That'll get a run in and a ground out RBI for Sweeney. 13-2. Jerry Owens scoring the latest run. 2 down.
Spring training is about so many different things going on for different players, depending, as I said earlier, on their status with the ball club. But should he not even retire another batter, this outing will roll right off of Bob Howery's back so quickly that he won't even remember he was out there on the mound. You know, his forte has always been, as we said, his ability to spot that fastball and then complement it with that good slider right out of the same delivery, and just a little inconsistent with his fastball here in the early going.
Well, give that fan an A+ for effort. You think the umpires really care if somebody bats out of order in a game like this?
Well, I seriously doubt it.
Would they know?
Most of the umpires that I dealt with in spring training didn't really care too much about changes. You know, just hand me a lineup card with 9 guys on it, and we'll go play ball.
Kincaid will throw, and the stretch by Hoffpower, and they're able to get Andy Gonzalez. Bottom 9, 13-2.
Chicks. Dig.
It's awfully hot in here.
Becker.
Someone has been working out.
Becker. Watch him operate 5 nights a week.
Late nights on Superstation WGN.
Your Sleeping Beauty may want to wait till tomorrow. That's okay. You have up to 36 hours with Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to work up to 36 hours. 36 hours means you can be flexible and choose for yourselves when the moment is right. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away. Some things take time. You can have it. 36-hour Cialis. When the moment is right. Will you be ready?
Welcome. Welcome.
Today's Budweiser plays in the game. Well, Alfonso Soriano with a double, a single, and then another double. So 3 hits today for the new Cubs superstar, Alfonso Soriano.
I don't think this is the last time he's going to be our Budweiser player of the game. Alfonso Soriano just has a wealth to offer to a ball club offensively with his legs on the bases and hopefully defensively out in center field as well. Personally, Len, I think he's such a good athlete that it's just a matter of getting the time out there, feeling comfortable out there in center field. We saw him do it earlier in the ball game. He misjudged the ball, but made a nice adjustment, still able to come in and make the play.
Andrew Cisco, 6'10" on the hill.
Just to continue with Soriano, well, you talk to major league outfielders, and guys who play more than one position will always tell you that center field is easier to play than the corners. You tend to get truer flight on the ball in center field, on left field or right field. Sometimes the ball is hooking or slicing away from you. Because you're in center field, you can see where the ball is in relation to the hitter. Did he swing early? Did he swing late? Was he under it? Is he over it? And you tend to get better jumps on the ball in center field.
Squibbed up the middle off the bat of Coy Hill. He's thrown out by Valito. The White Sox obtained Andrew Cisco from the Royals in December for Ross Glode. He is a former second-round pick of the Cubs. And if they say that, you know, if you're left-handed, you can hang around for a while. Well, if you're 6'10" and left-handed, that gives you even more time. He pitched with Kansas City in 05 and made 67 appearances. Last year, 65 appearances, but had a 710 earned run average. Cubs lost him in the Rule 5 draft in December of 04. One and one on Ronnie. Broken bat, bouncer to third base. Fields will throw out Cedeno, 2 down. Want to welcome Peter Chase. Comes from the Boston Red Sox, Cubs' new director of media relations. He'll work with Jason Carr, Caitlin Thrall, great media relations staff. Congratulations to Cubs strength and conditioning coach Tim Buss. Got married in the offseason. So congrats to Tim and Lauren Buss. Good to see Tom Otis Hellman, Gary Stark, Jonathan Varimus, all the great clubhouse crew. See Tim Hellman, Chicago. Rich Rupp's here. One big happy family. Ed Halber, Mark O'Neill, Cubs trainers.
You know, Len, I didn't really check the full Cactus League schedule today, but I have to assume the Padres are playing. But you'd never know it by looking at the bat boy. I think that's Khalil Green working as a bat boy for the Cubs today.
That's a good call. Yeah, maybe we got him for Andy Mazer.
Fundraiser for Khalil Green straight up.
Oh, I'm going to get an email tonight. What were you guys talking about? Jake Fox will have to get a new bat. That's old school. He's just here for the Bud Light. Jimmy Bank, Cubs traveling secretary, roaming around someplace. He was rubbing it in. He saw the Who the other night.
Yeah.
Did you catch that show?
No, I did not. But I knew that Jimmy was going to go. And said that Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey were in fine form. Meatloaf here today watching the ball game.
Cubs are working with the community in the city of Chicago on plans to have another music performance in July. The only bad thing for us on a purely selfish level is that we're always out of town when they have it. So. But we'll be watching a Cubs baseball game live and in person. So
can't beat that.
It's all right.
Well, we can always get the DVD of the concert.
That's right. Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. A ho-ho-com record crowd of 12,903 watching the Cubs host the Sox today. It was all White Sox 13-2 as they beat the Cubs. They really pounded the baseball today. Cubs got one home run, Derek Lee, and the White Sox 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, including 2 3-run shots. We'll be back to Mesa after this.